Hey everyone, today is Thursday, the 10th of June 2021. This is The Gap, episode 569. I'm Luke Lawrie. Joab Gilroy is here, and it's E3 week is sort of kicking off.
Yeah, I guess. Kind of. A little.
I mean, today and then tomorrow is like, there's more stuff happening, right? It's now E3 is turned into like 2 weeks.
Games Festival. It's 2 degrees Celsius, and I'm freezing my fucking tits off. It's the summer of games, baby.
Yeah, I like how they focus it on the like where it is. Like in America, they're like, "Fuck you, the rest of the world. It's summer. This is what we're
summer
calling it." Where it matters.
Here, you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it doesn't really matter, does it? I mean, the temperature outside doesn't really affect what games we get. I did see there was
call it the hot games. Hot games fest.
There was. Did you see there? And for winter you could have cool games. There was like a bit of a Twitter spat the other week when people were like, "Oh, you know, it'd be more inclusive if you referred to games based on their quarter as opposed to the season that they're coming out in." And on one hand, I absolutely agree because back when I don't really write news anymore, but back when I was writing news, it provided a great deal of consternation trying to work out
when it is fall.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But like not because I can't work out, you know, I can't do basic fucking maths, but because what you quickly find out, right? And people who are always keen to prove you wrong on shit will very quickly point out is that different fucking countries interpret seasons differently. In America, the season begins on the 21st of the month that it starts in. It doesn't start at like fucking summer doesn't kick off on the 1st of June. It starts on like the 21st of June and shit. Like, technically, we're not in summer. Well, you're not in summer yet. But we're in Australia, because it starts at the beginning of the month, we are in winter. We are absolutely in winter. And that's like, that kind of bullshit. Fuck me. Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's just needlessly confusing. Whereas quarter 1, 2, and 3, and 4.
Yeah.
But like, the argument against that is that, you know, people have different quarter interpretations because they go based on financial year.
Shut the fuck up.
Right? So some people will be like, next month is actually the beginning of quarter 1.
Yeah.
Because it's the start of their financial year.
The only people making this argument are tax people. And who cares?
What? Yeah. fuck the accountants. ATO, if you're listening, just let it go.
Where's my money?
No, stop it. Let's not anger the ACO. But anyway, hey, we should apologize for the audio last week.
It was terrible.
By we, I mean you.
Yeah. It was both of us. I went back and started editing that thing and was like, oh man, my audio is shithouse this week. It was clipping all over the place. And then I went into my volume settings and they were set to like 100%. I was like, fuck. I just didn't pick it up while we were recording, mainly because I've switched across from Audacity to Adobe Audition. And I didn't notice the little... I didn't like the red line is when you do like a multi-track session or whatever it is, the red line is off to the side and the small bar. And I just didn't notice it at all. Whereas when I was recording in Audacity, you know, it's a big screen with the waveform there, and if it's clipping somewhere, then I can see it. I've since fixed that. I've lowered my audio back to where it should be, so it should be good this week. And also, I've changed it so I'm recording a single audio session, so the waveform is nice and big. I can see that sort of stuff. I've been trying to get rid of, for whatever reason, I think NVIDIA Broadcast has been messing with their algorithm or something, but the mouse clicks are coming through occasionally.
Right.
And that is a little bit frustrating. I've been trying to get rid of that, but that can be quite challenging sometimes. I mean, they've got algorithms in there now that I think they're beta testing like dogs and cats.
Right.
At the moment, like you can actually switch that on as a noise filter, but
Add dogs and cats into your
yeah,
audio.
into the background just to spice
So
things
it
up
just
a
sounds
little bit.
like you're living in Jumanji or some shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the clicking, like the mouse clickings, I do click around a lot. You do as well. Like
Yeah.
when we're reading articles or like looking at Twitter for breaking news or anything like that.
Finding notes. I've got notes.
Exactly, going through like our notes and all that sort of thing. So I try and usually get rid of that stuff, but sometimes they do make it through. And then your
Yeah.
audio sounded like it wasn't recording from your microphone, or your microphone was backwards, or like it was recording from your kitchen or something. Like it was really weird and a bit a lot of like background noise as well. So like I had to try and fix that up a little bit. But yeah, it wasn't a great episode last week. So absolutely
Great content.
fantastic
Just
content. Some of the best. It's always some of the best.
just terrible editing.
Terrible. Not editing. Editing's great. The production.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
And who is our producer? That's you.
it is me.
Editor, producer, director. It's all you, baby. You know, you want to take all the accolades, all the good stuff that comes in.
Yeah.
None of it. You got to take all the bad stuff as well. I'm afraid, sadly. Yeah. No. What I think happened is Nvidia broadcast updated,
Hmm.
and yeah, decided to change something. In
Yeah.
my case, I think it changed which source it was going to. But there may have also been a Windows update.
Yeah, I think it's one of those two for me as well.
Because I had to, I've been playing SCP Secret Laboratory,
Hmm.
and I had to dick around with my audio settings to get the right mic working, if I recall correctly. And I think that's only started since after the podcast last week. So, yeah, classic. Why do Windows updates always fuck up? Like every single time they fuck up audio somehow. I guess it's just weird. It's such a weird
Yeah, they do
thing
it on
for them to
purpose.
always fuck up.
I don't know.
It's a targeted attack on the podcast, on the entire podcast scene. Yeah. Anyway, shall we jump into SCP Secret Laboratory?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's kick right in. A lot of things going on this week.
So I've been playing this game again. We've talked about it before. I don't know when. It would have been a while ago, ages and ages ago.
Mm-hmm.
I love this game, and I don't like. On one hand, I don't know why it's not more popular. Right? It's got like, I looked on Steam charts. It's got like Hell Let Loose numbers, which is not bad by any means, but it's free, and it is completely insane what it does. It's like it's asymmetrical multiplayer, but on so many different levels. It's not just one monster versus 4 humans or something like that. It's fucking 12 guards, and the guards are on a team with the scientists and the special forces. But they're against the Class D prisoners. And then you've got the scientists are on the side of the guards, but they can team up with the Class D. And the guards can handcuff the Class D and turn them into special forces. And there's this other bunch called the Chaos Insurgency, and they're on the side of the SCPs, but the SCPs aren't on Chaos's side. So the Chaos don't want to kill the SCPs, but the SCPs are supposed to kill Chaos. And so, because there's friendly fire and because like these like teams aren't hard stuck. You've got these situations where like the chaos can shoot the SCPs. They can shoot each other if they fucking want to. The SCPs don't have to kill the chaos, although they will have to if they want to fucking win. But they can leave them to last, or they can leave a debuy. Like, I had a game the other day. Like, to clarify, obviously, I say we've talked about it before, but and by we I mean me. But it's a game that is sort of, it's based on the SCP. I don't know what to call it, like fiction, creative fiction writing wiki, I guess, where people write these insane short stories about these, like the sort of shit that the X-Files might hunt down, right? Or Control might go after. Control was, in my head, basically an SCP video game, except like they couldn't quite. SCP has pretty rigid rules about what can be monetized within it and stuff like that. So Control, you got stuff like when you're going through the oldest house, you find like a phone, and if you pick up this phone, something fucking whack will happen. Like you'll hear, I don't know, fucking the children you never had or some shit, right? Like there are a bunch of rooms in Control where you'd find like there were these giant lockdown things, and it would just be like this giant area dedicated to like something tiny in the middle, and people, all the writing around it would be like, oh god, like whatever happens. I swear there was something in particular in Control. Maybe you can remember because you played it obsessively. There was something where someone had to be looking.
Fridge. Yeah.
The fridge. Right. Yeah. Right. There is like one of the SCPs in Secret Laboratory. I'm saying laboratory weird, aren't I?
Laboratory. It's a laboratory.
God damn it. Laboratory. Anyway, in SCPSL, one of the monsters is the peanut. And he basically looks like a giant peanut. He's made out of concrete technically, and you have to be looking at him. Because if you're not looking at him, he moves 5 times faster than everyone else. Technically, he's supposed to be able to like instantaneously move, and the way they've done that in the game is that if you are in the same room as him and you stop looking at him, he can attack you from any fucking distance. Basically, like he doesn't have to be on top of you. Most like generally it's melee attacks from the SCPs, but if you fail to look at him, he'll get you. Which is basically like the fridge, right? Someone had to be looking at all times. In SCP, they introduced this blink mechanic, which is actually how you can tell when you're looking at Peanut, because if you start fucking blinking, you only blink when Peanut's around. You're not blinking all the time. And
you mean blinking by your screen, right? Your screen
goes black,
like your eyes.
Yeah. The screen goes black, and when the screen goes black, Peanut's able to fucking move lightning fast towards you. And so one of the terrifying things is when you look down this giant corridor and then you blink, and suddenly at the edge of your vision is this fucking Peanut, and you're like, fuck. And you had to start running, but you had to start running backwards because you can't stop looking at him. And so you run backwards and you like bump into a door and you like turn around quickly, open the door, and then like fucking run backwards again. You close that door to try to slow him down somehow. And like it's just this wild fucking game where like the the way you play it is different every time. And the reason I know why it's not more popular is because it's basically fucking impenetrable, right? Like it doesn't do any.
And it looks terrible.
It makes no yeah. Yeah. It looks like a source mod, basically. Like from Half-Life 2 or something. But yeah, the way it works is like just so unbelievably difficult to get a handle on because most of the time, I'm not sure exact numbers. I think it's like 13 D boys. In a 40-player server, you'll have like 1, 2, 5 SCPs, I think, spawn, and it's got a selection of 6 that it can choose from. So it will randomly assign one player in the server to be one of the 5 SCPs. Well, 5 players in the server, one of the 5 SCPs, and then you've got, I think it's 8 guards, and then not quite an even split, like slightly more scientists than D boys, Class D prisoners. So the odds are pretty good that you'll spawn as a D boy, a Class D prisoner, and they start with nothing. And they are, if the guards see them, the guards are supposed to shoot them. Like, there's a decent chance that you'll run out of your fucking room, you'll run around for a little bit, get blapped, and that's it. And you just have to fucking watch it. And it doesn't tell you anything. And from there, it doesn't get much easier. If you were to spawn as a scientist, you'd start with a key card, and that's it. And the key card can only get you into like 2 rooms. One of those rooms being a place that holds another SCP, not a neutral SCP, right? And basically the rule is if you step into this SCP's chamber and you activate it, it will upgrade whatever is in your inventory. And so you get a better keycard. You can upgrade your keycard by cycling through this until you've got a better keycard. And then, but you're like, it doesn't tell you that how to do this. You basically just have to work this fucking shit out, right? Or learn it by watching. Nobody's gonna fucking tell you either. Nobody's gonna tell you what any of this shit does. Like, there are a load of other SCPs, neutral SCPs, that don't really move around and you can't spawn as, but you can acquire them. There's like a red ball, and if you throw the red ball, it bounces around until it explodes with more force than anything else in the game. It can legit like kill an SCP in one shot. And it's basically, it's one of the most powerful weapons in the game, although it's very difficult to aim and all that kind of stuff, and like to use really well is complex. But it is a hugely powerful item that you have at hand that you just wind up, you wouldn't know that. Like, you might get it, or you pick up a fucking red ball that's in a glass case, and you're just like, oh, I don't know, and you throw it. And the only thing you'll learn is that, like, after you die to the explosion, everyone in the server who's already dead will just roast the fucking shit out of you. They'll just be like, what the fuck was that? Why would you throw the ball? And you'll be like, I'm new, I haven't played this, I don't know what the red ball does. But they can't hear it because they're all too loud, fucking lighting you up. And it's not like, it's not a bad thing. Like, it's not, there's some toxicity, obviously, but like, it's generally because everyone knows that they're going to be on the same team in about, I don't know, half a minute's time, right? Because it always randomly reassigns you. You're never one team for long. So you might be on someone's team as an SCP, or you might be a scientist one moment and then a D-boy in the next game. So you got to know that if you just wander around as a scientist, you happen to find a gun and you start capping D-boys, you got to know that shit's coming back to you. I take note. And anyone who wrongs me, I persecute for the rest of fucking eternity. I've got a fucking list, right? Like, I'm far from the only one doing this. Everyone talks about, oh, that dude's always a fucking dickhead, blah 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 blah. Like, yeah, it's not. Well, I guess it's vaguely toxic, but it is like retribution toxicity, I suppose. So I don't know, because I participated in it. I probably find it more palatable. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. You can't learn any of this shit easily, right? Like, I guess you could go look up a fucking wiki, but that's about it. And then, like, there's the SCP. You spawn as an SCP, and you're so done. There's no fucking way you work this shit out. Like, it's got like press the F1 button, and it'll tell you broadly what you're doing, or what you're supposed to do. I spawned as Peanut the other day. It's like, if people are looking at you, you can't kill them. And that's about it. But it doesn't really tell you anything else. It doesn't give you any more information. I had to, like, I was very lucky to be playing with this, someone who, it turned out, has played the game for like 4,000 hours, which is insane. And he was playing as the computer, which is a character that wasn't in it last time I played. But the computer is an SCP that can basically control like every door in the building and everything everywhere. And so it's unbelievable. Like, it's rough. You used to be able to get away with a lot of shit as a D-boy or a scientist, because you could just close the door and the SCPs weren't able to open it. But now, holy fuck. Computer not only can open that door, but can lock the other doors and then turn off all the lights. And once the lights are off, like in the game, nobody can see. It's like everyone's blinking all the time. You can see as a person in a room with the lights off, you can see, but it counts as if you're in dark enough view that Peanut can get you. And so, like, yeah, I was playing as Peanut, and this computer player turned off all the lights on a room full of D-boy. Like, basically every D-boy and scientist was in this fucking room. And I just fucking, it was a massacre. Like, all of them died. It was disgusting. It was pretty funny. I had no idea that I could do that. That was the first time I'd learned about that fucking mechanic at all. I'd never seen it before. I've never played as a computer. I played as Peanut like ages ago. Like, yeah, just didn't know. And that's the thing about SCP Secret Laboratory, is that like you can't know these things. There's no way, like, this would never be a commercial game, I think. Right? They would never successfully commercialize this game, even if it was divorced from the SCP concept, because it's so fucking tricky to fucking teach people. And like, also there's, I don't know, I couldn't play it with other people. It's like, I do want everyone else to play it with me, and I think it'd be fantastic to like jump in a fucking Discord and all jump in together. But at the same time, you would need to like,
it'd be like playing one of those board games that everyone has to sit down and watch like an hour and a half tutorial on how to play it.
Yeah.
And then even then you're like, I'm still not really, like, that's a lot of information. I've got to now try to figure that out. And it's not like you can teach someone on the go while you're playing a board game. In SCP, you die and you're like, I wasn't really sure what happened there, and now I've got to sit here for 20 minutes.
You got to sit, and the other thing is, if we wind up on different sides, it'd be like you're playing that board game, but you're also actively trying to beat them, like,
Sure.
or it'd be like one of those, werewolf or mafia or something, where you're like, okay, and if I was Secret Hitler, then I would say something, and people are like, yeah, well, you're obviously fucking Secret Hitler, and you're like, okay, fuck, cool, great. Yeah, that kind of thing. Like, yeah, it's very like the way you communicate suddenly gets very tricky as well, and all this kind of shit. It just doesn't work, right? Which is a shame, because yeah, I love the fuck out of this game, but it's very much well, I'm gonna fucking dump about for a bit and yeah, invariably there's a great deal of time, like downtime. It's actually a pretty good like fucking book game slash hockey slash NBA playoffs game. Because you've got enough downtime to sort of just not pay full attention. And then when you are paying full attention, you're all the way locked in. But yeah. Anyway, it's free. And it's not big, and it is ugly, and it is funny having it installed on an M2 drive and playing it using a 3080. Because I sit there for like 5 full seconds after loading into the server before anyone else is loaded in, and then all the 12-year-olds load in, and they're all, the first thing anyone does is yell "First!" And I pointed out that I was obviously first one time, and I made the mistake of telling them why. And I was playing SCP on a, I don't know, $3,500 computer, and they all lost their fucking shit. They were very upset. I was murdered instantly. The next game, they found, like, I spawned as a guard, and like one of the other guards walked up to me and just capped me in the head and called me an idiot. It was pretty funny. Annoying at the time, pretty funny. Anyway. Yeah. SCP, Secret Laboratory. Laboratory. Cool. Fuck. Speaking of games that completely wasted on this computer. Rubber Bandits. Summer Prologue. Baz pointed this out. We were playing this last night, and Baz pointed out that apart from Heath, who was playing it on a 2080 Ti or 2080 Super, can't remember which one, the rest of us were all playing this game on 3080s. So, yeah, the cards themselves are going on the market for $3,500 fucking dollars, but yeah, I think I've seen one for $4,500, but not used. I think used they go for $3,500. Ridiculous. Yeah, so Summer Prologue. It is pretty goofy that we've got these extremely powerful computers and we're playing this dumb game again. But talked about it last week. It's a 4-player brawler. The prologue is the Rubber Bandits itself still appears to be some sort of heist game. No idea when the fuck it's coming out. Yeah. I'm a little bit concerned that they're going to. They released an update yesterday, and I think they said that they will no longer be updating it from here on out. They're now focused on Rubber Bandits itself. So, I mean, that seems fine to me. This is sort of just a momentary thing. What I found interesting was we played a couple of games with JB, Johnny Bravo, and had it like it was a lot of fun, but we just sort of looped through the 3 maps quickly, like very quickly, because JB kept winning. But yeah, like there's only 3 maps in this prologue, and so you sort of get a feel for it, and there's not like there's no randomization on spawn points, so you always spawn in the same place, and so you know where you're gonna be, and you know where, you know, if JB's been fucking slapping the shit out of everyone, you know exactly where he's gonna be every time, or you know, I know Drew's gonna be on the opposite side from us each time we go to this level and stuff like that, and so you gotta like sort of work that shit out, and then fucking. It makes it a little less dynamic as a game, and it needs that RNG to sort of put you in different places. But it's not that big a deal. I didn't find it to be a big problem. We just sort of burned out on it just as JB had to bail, and me and Drew were like, well, let's go play something else. And then Baz showed up, and what I found interesting is Baz showed up, and Heath eventually joined as well while we were finishing out our round of Chivalry 2. Because in Chivalry 2, if you don't fucking finish a map, you don't get any XP in that fucking level, which is idiotic. But anyway, yeah, I was like, well keen to jump back into Rubber Bandits. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go, let's do it. Why not? And yeah, so we're playing 4-player of that with Baz and Heath and Dr. E3 Money. Just fucking funny. So, like, I mean, all it reminds me, all it makes me think of is that Party Animals needs to fucking show up, because it is basically just sloppier Party Animals. But on the other hand, that's not what Rubber Bandits is about. It actually has me pretty keen to play the proper Rubber Bandits, because I like the idea of some fucking goofy brawl 'em up heist when it finally comes up. It's like, because yeah, Rubber Bandits itself is not like Summer Prologue. It's got elements of it, and I think what they were doing was sort of just testing the essence of that game. But yeah, it's ultimately a very different experience, which, yeah, I don't know. I'm very interested in playing Rubber Bandits proper now. So I think it's a success of a demo. But for what Summer Prologue does itself, I just want to play Party Animals. I just want Party Animals to fucking come out already. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Does this seem like a game that'll be free to play, or is it? Do you think it's gonna have like a, I don't know,
Rubber Bandits,
$15, $19 price tag on it?
If it comes out with a $15 price tag, I could see myself getting into it. Anything more than that, I think will be a bit of a stretch. But yeah, 15 would be on the upper echelon of that too. Like, it'd have to be 15 AUD, not fucking 15 USD translates to 22 fucking Australian or some shit. Fuck that. Yeah. But we'll see. I believe that they're going to leave the servers up for Summer Prologue as well, and they've refined the local co-op, local multiplayer rather, so you can actually play it on a single screen properly now, and so that's all good. That's nice, but yeah.
Have you suggested to them they change the name, not to Summer Prologue, to Q4?
Q4 Prologue, Q2,
yeah,
Q3.
Depends where you are, I guess.
Fucking now we're fucking good lord. Anyway,
all right, cool. That's Rubber Bandits. It's available on Steam. You can request access to, I guess, play it.
No. You just download Summer Prologue. You're talking about requesting access to the Rubber Bandits playtest. We went over this last week. Just on Steam, go to Rubber Bandits and then scroll down a little further, and you'll see Summer Prologue.
Yep. Fair enough. All right, cool. Next up we have let's go Half-Life Alyx with DecaMove. What is DecaMove?
DecaMove is a interesting little it's technically a dongle, although for I don't know what they did was they ported it to an app on your phone, and it basically uses the accelerometer and gyros, I guess, and compass and shit to basically work out your orientation, and it's I believe it's actually using like the full compass and everything, not like GPS compass or whatever, but like Google's compass shit, the stuff that it keeps you facing the correct way and stuff. So you actually do the, when you syncing your app
Yep.
your
You wave the
maps.
phone around. Yep.
You do the figure eight thing. Yeah, you have to do that to like on maps. You have to open maps and do that and get it to high for DecaMove on your phone to work. But
And then
basically,
what,
you
you
put
put
it
it in
in your
your
pocket.
Okay.
Yeah, you put it in your pocket. You link it to your computer, and you open whatever game via their PC program, the DecaMove hub.
Mm-hmm.
And what it does is it allows you to do continuous movement based on the direction your hips are facing. So generally,
As opposed to your
continuous
head.
movement
Yeah.
is head movement or hand direction. Now it's based on the way your hips are facing, and it is fucking huge, man. Like it's pretty big, man. It was a like I think I've been pretty upfront. I generally play games using teleport motion where I can. I played Boneworks using continuous because that's how you play Boneworks. You can't do teleport. The physics based stuff is pretty important to the game. But I couldn't play Boneworks for ages, and I think it's because there is I have a problem with the link between my head movement and continuous head movement just doesn't work for me, right? But doing it with my hips, fucking awesome. It's really good. It works really, really well for me. It's pretty subtle initially, and then you realize just how helpful it is, and yeah, you wind up really appreciating it over time. And so yeah, it's good stuff. You can find basically you can get the app to test it out yourself if you have a VR machine, obviously, by going to DecaMove, and I think the easiest way would be to Google DecaMove Android, and you basically have to sign up for their beta testing, and then you, instead of it'll tell you there's no beta test going on right now, but you just go to the downloads page and you can get the hub and the Android app, and then you link the two. It was easy for me to link them, despite the fact that I don't have my PC's not on Wi-Fi. It's on Ethernet, but it still recognized that it was on the same network. It's IP based. It says in the FAQ that it has to be on the same Wi-Fi, but it's actually IP based, so it's not that big a deal. You can do it just on the same network in general, which is, I think, a mistake for them, like in communication, but it doesn't matter. Link them up. You sync it by holding your hands down low and looking up, and you see a screen come up, say syncing, and that's it. You go do your thing, which is awesome. Works in any game with continuous movement, and yeah, it's pretty fucking cool, man.
So I assume they're doing some. I'm just trying to think how it works. Like they're doing something weird where it's telling the game that this is the headset as opposed to the headset, right?
Yeah, it must be. Yeah,
like it's duplicating it like cloning it or in some way. I don't know. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, that's a pretty good guess. That's probably what's happening. I haven't seen them describe exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
But it's such yeah. I don't think fucking VR kits need more fucking parts to them necessarily.
You've given them an idea now. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. But well, this actually has a dongle that you can buy for $70. And it means you don't have to have the app on your phone, and if you've got baggy pockets, it's not gonna your phone wobbles around, that's gonna fuck you up. But this clips onto the top of your pants, so it can be on anything basically. So that's not a problem, and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's I think it's $70, or I think it's 87 AUD.
Right.
It's a good idea. I think it's a really fucking good idea for VR. And yeah, it was surprising to me just how good uh it felt to be moving based on hip direction as opposed to head direction. Which is awesome.
Yeah, I guess
Uh,
I'd have to. That's something I have to check out because I've played Half-Life Alyx and a few of those other games using continuous. I think it was continuous head movement. Yeah,
yeah,
because it obviously does take some time to get used to because you're basically moving. You're pressing forward on the analog stick, and then you're moving in the direction your head is moving. And so you've got to be looking, you're constantly like looking around and stuff like that, whereas your weapons, your hands are in different directions. And I think you
yeah,
get some games you can even set it so it's where your hands are pointing, depending on what type of
yeah.
hardware you've got. And so
Alyx
yeah,
lets you do that.
right.
Yeah,
And then the other solutions are like teleporting, um, and I guess the teleporting is for people that find their head continuous tracking movement a bit nauseous. And like I
like
said,
me. Yeah,
it takes some time to get used to that sort of thing.
yeah,
But once you do, I think it works pretty well. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how different it is by using something that is attached around your waist to point in
yeah.
a direction, while then being able to move and look. Being able to move forward while looking backwards, or something like that could be interesting. Like I don't know, like is that the sort of things you were doing with it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely it was. Yeah, like you are literally and like shooting backwards and shit. Like
Hmm.
very cool. The way that shit works.
I feel like that's
And
got more of a chance of me falling over, right?
yeah, 100%. Like fucking hell, it took me so long to not naturally lean over
Mm, yeah.
to an unstable position playing VR. But yeah, you should definitely grab the app, like check it out. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure that the dongle is necessary. Like in my opinion, I chucked them a donation. Because I think the app is enough
Mm.
on my phone, but I can see people who don't have good phones or good accelerators in their phones, or maybe some other issue.
Maybe
Um,
accuracy, like having your if you've got it in your pocket, right? It's not necessarily centered. I guess maybe like you said,
yeah,
it can move around as well, and so the orientation of it could get a bit wonky. Whereas if you've got a device that did you say it comes with a strap or something? Like you can kind of just
it's
put it
like a
in.
little clip, a belt clip.
Right, so you just clip that
Yeah,
to the front of your pants, like dead center. That
yeah.
might be a little bit weird, I guess. Maybe on your back might be better.
Look at my dongle.
Yeah, I feel like the back of your spine or something would be a good spot. But also, like, I don't know how finicky it is or like how accurate or if it's just like, yeah. Anyway, I'm just
Test it out.
speculating.
See how you go with the phone. I'd love to know, yeah, your experience with it. Because yeah, mine, the phone is well and truly enough. I would pay, like the app is free.
Sweet.
They've
Yeah.
released all this for free, and I'm like, I would have paid for this.
Mhm.
Like I would have paid for this part. So yeah, and now I don't feel the need to pay more money for a dongle. All right, like. I think you goof, but yeah, I chucked him a donation because I think it's fucking genius. And I really felt the impact. I felt like it really changed the way I played.
I wonder if it's one of those things where they're not interested in selling like these dongles at this point. Maybe they tried and it didn't like
Yeah,
trying to get people to buy it, and now they're just trying to like get people to buy them. Like at that point,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah, that's a
I'm
good
waiting
point.
for Facebook to come around and be like, all right, we're going to pick you up,
Yeah,
and we'll pay a couple 40, 50 million for you, and off you
yeah,
go, have a good payday, type thing.
that's a really good point. Yeah.
Mm.
Um. Uh. You know what else changed my experience? I put Half-Life Alyx on story difficulty,
Okay.
and now everyone takes 2 shots to the head as opposed to 15, and
Right.
I'm actually having fun with the game, which is something completely different
Did
for
they
me.
add difficulties? They did, didn't they? I think we talked
Yeah.
about on here. They changed difficulty settings. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Did you check out the what is it called? Like developer commentary? Like they've been slowly releasing that stuff, right?
No, I was playing a mod called GoldenEye Alyx, where they sort of recreate. Like, the idea is recreating GoldenEye levels in Half-Life Alyx. It's not like what they've done so far is unbelievable, like really fucking well made. These are really well made levels, but it's more you get hints of these old school GoldenEye levels more than you do actually get the vibe that you're playing through GoldenEye in Half-Life Alyx, which I don't know, like I don't know if maybe that's their intention. Yeah, you play as Alyx Bond, and you're rolling around, and like they make references to stuff that you like. They draw your attention to sort of they're almost Easter eggs from GoldenEye. You know, Soviet missiles stacked up pointlessly, and like doors that lead to dudes standing there waiting to be shot in the head and stuff like that. It's that more than it is. Oh, okay, I recognize this. It's very much still City 17. There's just hints of GoldenEye in it. Which
did they fuck it up by not calling it Half-Life Alyx?
See, that's what they should have done. Yeah.
Fresh reference. Alyx is the name of the villain in GoldenEye.
006. Scene Bean even.
Yeah.
What that fucking I'm gonna rewatch that movie this weekend. I rewatched The Rock.
Why rewatch it when you can play the game?
Why play the game when you can rewatch that awesome movie? What about Xenia on top? Holy shit. That was crikey. Yeah, we rewatched The Rock on Monday because it was the 25th anniversary of that film coming out. And a lot of that movie is kind of trash. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised. It is a fantastic movie, brilliant movie, but some of the shit that, like, how people didn't know Michael Bay was going to wind up being trash eventually based on The Rock, which was his second movie. I don't know, because the shit he does in that, like, there's just there's no, what's that fucking line from, oh, god damn it, now I've forgotten, Gareth Marenghi's Dark Place. I've known writers who use subtext, and they're all cowards. Yeah, there's no subtext in this movie. My wife pointed out at one point, when, like, right at the start, the girlfriend, Nick Cage's girlfriend, is like, "I'm pregnant. Oh my god, I'm pregnant. Aren't you excited?" And they cut to Nick Cage, and his face is just like, what have I done? And then they smash cut to an external shot of Alcatraz prison because he's now trapped. Like, there's no room for subtlety in this fucking movie. Holy Jesus Christ. Anyway, yeah. So we rewatched that, and I chucked a link in our Discord channel to a video I watched where a guy basically breaks down how he figures The Rock, Sean Connery's character in The Rock, is the Sean Connery James Bond. And it is a very compelling argument. He makes a very good argument in that there are some, like, if you watch the video, you're like, that is it. That's 100%. And you rewatch The Rock, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna dial it back a bit. I think it's about 80%. But you go like I went digging afterwards and learned some shit. Like Sean Connery, I think as a condition of coming on board, made them hire his two script doctors. Like he had these two script doctor dudes who were like who knew James Bond, and he got them to hire them to rejig the script so that it was more Bond. Like Sean Connery thought he was playing James Bond, just with a different name. So why the fuck not? Why couldn't it be James Bond? Fuck it. So anyway, obviously Pierce Brosnan is a different Bond, a very good Bond. But I'm definitely gonna rewatch GoldenEye. I'm about it. Fucking. Cool. Anyway, what a detour that one took. It's your fault. You brought up fucking Alyx Trevelyan.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So yeah, DecaMove, awesome. Half-Life Alyx, when enemies take 1 shot, 2 shots to the head. Really good fun. Still really sparse with enemies, even in this level. I don't think they could get around the 3 enemy cap. Also, every time I start off Half-Life Alyx, for some reason it tells me I've got low GPU memory. And I have to press OK to then continue to play. And
you know why? You need that 3080 tie. That's what they're after. They want that.
I need that tie. I need that tie. I'll hit up NVIDIA. I'm like, sorry guys, I can't even play fucking.
Look at this. Look
Half
at this
of
rubbish.
Alyx.
What is
What
this?
the fuck is this shit? This is trash. Garbage. It's barely even worth the $3,500. Good lord.
Yeah.
Classic.
All right.
But yeah.
Cool. Let's move on. Elite Dangerous.
Elite Dangerous Odyssey. Yeah. I've been playing. I played this a little bit. Mostly check out the Odyssey stuff. I don't think I'm going to do much Odyssey stuff.
I heard it's really rough.
It's definitely better than it was at launch. I was away for the launch, and it looks like I missed the worst of it. And also that garbage card I've got on my PC maybe brute forcing its way through a lot of the expansion's problems. It might just be like hiking it up on its back and then carrying me through some of the shittier parts. I am seeing some hiccups occasionally. But yeah, it's the Odyssey stuff is very underwhelming. Like even without, if this was running at like a 20, if this had copped me a 20 frame hit, I could see being very upset about this experience. I could understand why people were very upset about the experience. I think they've made progress already in the space of 2 weeks, which just further makes me wonder why they actually adhered to this ridiculous deadline. But even beyond technical difficulties, it's just an underwhelming update. There's I spoke about it in my my Elite Dangerous video. The measurement of success in Elite Dangerous is dollars per minute, right? Space bucks per minute, space bucks per hour, rather. And this, like the ability to get out of your ship and walk around and take all these missions and stuff like that. It's like in Community when the Dean gets his VR headset and he's running around and doing all this extrapolated shit just to like delete. He has to like draw a bow and arrow to delete a file, or no, he has to drown the file to delete it or something. It's just like fucking like NBA 2K, the neighborhood, right? Which I think is the last time I made the fucking Dean gets a VR headset and community reference. Like, it's just drawn out, right? It's a menu screen, but now I have to fucking walk to the next option in the menu, and it's just not better. The upside is that you can still do it all the old way in Elite Dangerous. You're not stuck getting out of your fucking ship, right? But it does mean that, like, after the first time, you know, I got out of my fucking ship, I walked around my Anaconda, I was like, this is fucking cool. And then I walked into, you know, went up the elevator to the space station and walked around that. And I'd already seen it all in the alpha, so I wasn't really, you know, that blown away by that portion of it. But it was pretty cool to be on a space station. They've done themselves a real disservice by not giving you a lot of viewing angles outside of the space station, which I think is a mistake. But at the same time, I sort of understand why. Like, space stations in Elite Dangerous are constantly rotating and all this kind of stuff. And while it would be extremely cool and grounding to have a window that allows you to see the weird purple sun that this space station is orbiting or some shit. While that would be excellent, it would be probably impractical. So I understand why they didn't do it, but it does sort of make it feel like, well, this could be any fucking space station anywhere, so what the fuck is the point? And that reinforces the, well, is this not just a hyper extended menu screen? And then you go and take one of the fucking missions. I had enough money to get some halfway decent gear. But the problem is, you know, I don't know what it was like when it launched, probably apart from being a slideshow, a lot more active. But already people have worked out that this shit isn't worth the time. It goes back to what I was saying in that fucking video. From a space box per hour fucking perspective, on foot missions aren't fucking worth it. There's not a single one of them that's fucking worth it. Because they take too long. There's travel time. The payouts aren't good enough compared to the like existential difficulty, and so I was just against bots, and the bots aren't like PUBG bad or PUBG too good, whichever. Like, PUBG's got two fucking modes. It's either they're complete potatoes or apparently aimbotting. It's not that, but it's not like they're not good bots either. They don't provide any challenge. They sort of just are cannon fodder that are supposed to be there to like provide you something to shoot at while you're finding other players. And that's not the case when no other players are doing this shit, you know? Which is, yeah, annoying. Like disappointing. And so, yeah, you wind up, there's no reason for you to be on foot. You can't walk around the internals of your ship, which isn't that big a deal, but is marginally disappointing. And so, yeah, you go and equip yourself for first-person combat, and then you just never do any of that. It's been launched way too early, basically.
Is it one of these things where it feels like they, like, to me, this seems like a response to Star Citizen, of like them doing the whole space exploration, pirates, on foot. Like, there's all these different, I don't know what they call them, but like core systems in place. Whereas Elite Dangerous has kind of been known to be it's a flight simulator or space simulator, and them trying to want to make sure they're not left behind. Like, does it kind of feel like they just kind of put it out there just so they've got this thing to compete with?
It does feel like that, but if it is, it's, I don't know, like, unnecessary. It feels like either they know something nobody else knows,
Wait,
or
you mean Star Citizen's coming out like next week?
right?
Like
Like,
that's like
yeah,
someone told them
either
that?
either Elite Dangerous is preparing for the impossible,
Yeah, I'm pretty
or
sure Robert Space Industries is a part of the. They usually are, right? The PC gaming show.
yeah,
I think they're
yeah.
doing something with that, but I don't think it's gonna be the like
I
a
will be
release
blown
drop.
away. Yeah, like, yeah, that this would be some nuclear reaction, nuclear level reaction, overreaction. If it is a reactive move to try to undercut Star Citizen, yeah, huge mistake in my opinion. Um, no, I just think they bit off more than they can chew.
Hmm.
Set themselves deadlines that they couldn't fucking meet. Never shifted the deadlines in a satisfactory way to accompany vastly changing uh, work landscape,
Mhm.
and then insisted on meeting their launch date for reasons I can't fucking fathom.
Yeah, does it
Because
play?
yeah,
Oh, like, is it average? Is it below average? Is it good? Like, how does it sort of handle the combat?
it's fine. It's like I don't think the gunplay is great. I think there's a couple of different there's three different kinds of assault rifle. I think there's three of every kind of weapon. So you got three pistols, three shotguns, three assault rifles, three SMGs, and three sniper rifles. I think there's three of each. Um, and I've only tried two of the assault rifles, one of the sniper rifles, and two each of the SMGs and pistols. And I think the laser or plasma assault rifle feels pretty good. But they're all designed to do like they've got this weird sort of oh the plasma does good against shield and fuck all against people and all this kind of you've got to take multiple weapons to deal with multiple different fucking enemies type thing. So yeah, even when what that weapon does feel good, it then quickly just feels like you're playing the fucking division and railing some cunt in the head for 15 fucking minutes because it doesn't do good against bodies. You're like, yeah, like come on, let's go. Um, movement itself feels good enough, like pretty good. There's definitely a good feeling about being in space, and there's a lot of information that you can get quite quickly and all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty good. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
It's just it released in a really unoptimized state, and B, there's no reason to fucking do any of it.
Hmm.
And so on a fundamental level, it misunderstands the reason people play Elite or are still playing Elite.
Sure.
So it's a mistake.
And it's if it's trying to bring in the people that want to play a on foot team based combat game, then it's still like having to compete with other games out there that are doing it better. Like so, they're somewhere in this weird spot where they've released a product that's not ready, that is not up to par with the other things that are out there. It just seems to me, it seems like just a checklist of like, hey, we've got this in our game, cool. So that when the next, like when Star Citizen comes along, and they're like, hey, here's all the things that we've got in our game, they can be like, hey, we've actually already got this in here. It's already there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just taking stabs here, but it just seems like something that was put in there to, mark a box at the end of the day.
And that's about all it achieves, which is unfortunate.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
It checks a box. Um, But on the flip side, well, in my experience, and like I said, I maybe don't have the typical experience because I've got a graphics card hardly anyone else has. But it hasn't dramatically impacted the regular Elite Dangerous experience outside of resetting all my fucking controls. So I hope you saved your fucking.
Somewhere.
Apart from resetting all that shit, yeah, I didn't wind up in a situation where like I just had to. I don't have that many controls I have to change. And so I was back to flying space missions again without any real issue.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the space stuff is still good, elite stuff. I probably wouldn't pay for Odyssey.
Yeah.
I
I
would
mean, to
get
me, it's
Elite
even weirder
Dangerous
that
and
it's like a paid thing and not just like,
right.
here's a new, a new component of the game. That's,
If it
yeah,
was
that's,
free, like I think people would still would have
hmm.
reason to be grumpy because it actively impacted their general experience. But yeah,
All right, so it's DLC. It's mostly negative on Steam at the moment with
mostly
close to
negative. Yeah,
5,000 reviews. Um,
yeah,
yeah, that is also hard to say whether or not that um, whether or not like the product is bad or it's people being like, I don't want a Call of Duty first person combat game in my space sim as well. It's just weird to me.
I think a lot of this, like just at first glance, this criticism seems pretty fucking solid. Like people aren't complaining about I don't want Call of Duty in my fucking game. They're
Yeah,
complaining about how the game appears to be
cooked it
fucked.
is. Yeah,
Um,
and it's 40.
which is
It's
fair.
40 US. So what is that, like 60, 55 Australian? It ain't.
57.
Yeah, it ain't. Not
50.
cheap.
I would not even like yeah. Holy shit! Never ever would I pay 57 for this fucking for this game. For this what it brings. It brings not even close to enough. So yeah, insanity.
Mm.
Anyway.
Okay. Cool. Anything
Yep.
else to add with that?
No, I don't think so.
All right, we'll keep moving on here. Um,
Yep.
what is on the list? PowerWash Simulator. I've been playing this. This
What the fuck?
is I think it's in it's in early access at the moment. It's one of those Zen type games where you kind of just chill out and do a very repetitive task. I talked about like Hard Space Shipbreaker a couple of times on here. That is one where you're kind of like dismantling giant spaceships. PowerWash Simulator is basically using these power tools with water in them, like giant hoses to wash to clean certain things that the game presents to you. It sort
Yeah.
of starts off pretty basic with like, here's a like a car or a motorbike, and then it gradually starts building up to like, here's a backyard you've got to clean, to here's an entire house or a skate park or skate park, or just like a children's park. And so they keep throwing these different objects or places at you that you've got to go and clean, and everything is just filthy. It's a fucking mess. You get to an area, the car is just completely covered in dirt, and you use your power wash tool to hold a button down, and move your mouse around to clean an area of this object. And if it's a car, for example, the pieces of the car are broken up into like different parts or different sections. So it'll have like headlights or tire, hubcaps, mirrors, side door, roof, brake lights, bumper, like all these tons and tons of different parts. And as you clean these specific parts, you start earning money. And each time you clean a certain part, it's generally like a small amount of money, a couple bucks, $4 or $5. But that's by the time you finish one of the earliest jobs, you've sort of racked up like $100, and you get even more for completing a job. And so as you complete more and more jobs or clean more and more objects within the environment, you're able to go into the shop and then buy or upgrade your PowerWash tools to be able to clean things quicker or in different ways. So you start off with a tool that is very not great. There's obviously a way to escalate and to get tools to that clean more powerful, or like the spread on the actual spray allows you to reach further, and so you're able to buy attachments for these power washes so that like you can reach higher or further away from you if you're like trying to stand on the ground and wash a window that is on a second story, or you're able to buy different nozzles for the power tools, which has they might have a wider spread, but the pressure on these tools gets worse and worse the more spread there is. So you're able to clean at a wider angle, but it's not the water pressure isn't as powerful. So you might have to do a couple passes as you're cleaning this thing, and so that's kind of the mechanics of the game. You're cleaning stuff and upgrading your tool sets, and so as you unlock more levels, things get a little bit more complicated. They start throwing things like ladders at you, where you've got to grab stools and ladders and place them in certain spots, and then climb to the second story roof and get into really intricate places so you can clean all the dirt off of these objects. It's a very, it ain't complicated. I think we've talked about a game before called a Visceral Cleanup Detail a long time ago. I don't remember what year that was, but that was like a very similar type of concept where it wasn't a simulator game, but you were playing a cleanup crew on on different parts of an environment that the idea was that, like, say you're in a video game or a movie where something terrible has happened. Aliens have gotten loose and killed everybody on this ship, or there's been a fight somewhere and bunches of people have died. The premise is that you are the crew that comes in after that has taken place and has to clean up this mess. And so we played a little bit of that, and that had a little bit more depth to it because you were able to make the area dirty again by having like a bucket that you'd use. You'd use your mop and clean up the floor, put it into the bucket to get the dirty blood off of the mop. But now your bucket is dirty and full of not great water, and somebody could kick it over and just spill it everywhere, and it'd cause even more of a mess. Or there'd be things within the environment that you could kind of interact with, and it'd cause you problems, these like obstacles. So PowerWash Simulator doesn't have that in it so far. It's pretty much at its initial stage of being released. It is a game where you are cleaning things within the environment, and it's very basic in that sense. There are a couple of surfaces where it'll tell you actually every surface in the game tells you sort of what it's made of, whether it's plastic, wood, and there's a list of 6 or 7 different types of materials, and you can buy cleaners which allows you to clean those surfaces a lot quicker. But you can also use higher pressure hoses, which will do a small impact area of cleaning to clean it quicker as well. And so there's this weird balance of you can see that they've got some ideas coming forward. Like they'll be adding things in the future to be like, you don't just have to use the one tool and it'll clean everything for you. It seems like they're going to want you to sort of switch tools in and out, so you're using the right nozzle or washer for the job that you're doing. And like there's some, in its current form, it's very basic. It's only just come out like the last like 2 or 3 weeks in May, and so in its current form, there's not a lot of variety in terms of the cleaning stuff, like the things you're doing while cleaning. There is a lot of variety in the what you're cleaning. There's a ton in there. I've played like 5 hours of this thing so far. It is a podcast game for me over the last week. I've been listening to podcasts while doing this stupid cleaning thing. My wife has walked in a bunch and being like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you always cleaning roofs?
That question.
Yeah. I'm just like, shut up. I'm cleaning my roofs. Look at this mess. And so, yeah, there's a ton of variety in the actual stuff you're cleaning. Like, I thought I would have been done by now, but it keeps throwing jobs at me. Like, I cleaned a fucking... what did I clean? Last night there was that like nursery rhyme, the lady that lives in the shoe. There's a fucking shoe house.
Mother Hubbard.
Yeah, I cleaned that house. Like, she's a filthy lady. She doesn't know how to clean any of this stuff. And so, yeah, it just keeps on throwing all these crazy things at you, which I think is really interesting and cool. I just want to see them add some more depth to it. There's a bunch of like a roadmap that they've got on the Steam page, which sort of tells you what is coming. Obviously, multiplayer would be fantastic with this game, and that is something that is on the way. It's not in there yet, but eventually it'll be put in there. And I think the interesting dynamics for that obviously comes down to what worked so well in Visceral Cleanup Detail was the multiplayer, right? It was you cleaning an area and some other dickhead walking through with dirty feet, and like Heath. Blood everywhere. Yeah, Heath. Or like knocking over a bucket and just spilling stuff everywhere. Like that sort of multiplayer co-op focused gameplay, which really made it some fun. And so I don't see what that is at the moment in multiplayer for this game, apart from you just conquering this object area, whatever it is, together.
It seems like there isn't like a failure state beyond not cleaning.
Not at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess you'd have to introduce something like that, right? You'd have to have an actual failure condition so that people could. But on the other hand, is that the sort of game they want to make? You know,
yeah, that's right.
Like, it seems like they're going for the very zen idea, and the ability to over clean, or
stripping paint off of a wall because you're using the wrong pressure. Like, I could see a hardcore mode, or like a different type of mode. When I talked about Hard Space Shipbreaker, right? That was very much in this sort of vein of like, you kind of just want to chill out and just like pull apart this ship, and they started introducing all this other wacky stuff into the game, like these they weren't ghosts, but it was like a spooky ship that had been taken over by an AI, and it was fucking with your screen and weird noises. And I'm like, I didn't want to play a horror game. I'm like, want to chill back and fucking dismantle ships. And so I think there's a fine balance of trying to get what people sort of want out of this game. But if they offer multiple angles, and that'd be cool. So yeah, but you're right. There's no sense of failure in the game at the moment. Again, it is very early, but I think there's a lot going on. It just feels like, I don't know, like they seem to, in terms of the things you can clean, like I'm super surprised by what is in there so far, because I thought it was going to be a lot less like going on. I thought I was going to be done with it pretty quickly, but there's some cool stuff going on there. I've kind of gone to the point where I've unlocked everything I need to. The soaps the cleaners that you can buy, they need to do something with that. They're kind of too expensive at this point, and they don't really offer like much reason to buy them. They do clean stuff quite. I don't know, like they'll do a pretty good job of cleaning things, but at the same time, it feels like you're just kind of chucking money down the sink because you'll use it on
Right.
something and you're not getting enough money back from what you just cleaned to buy another refill of it. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm better off just using a higher pressure nozzle and cleaning
Yeah.
it manually that way. So there's obviously balancing and all sorts of things they can do, but I'm just surprised at how deep it is, level design wise, so far. I just think it needs some more mechanics in there. So yeah, I saw
Yeah.
Heath was kind of interested in checking it out.
Yeah.
I think it best holding off until they maybe do another update and then see kind of what happens with these updates going forward, whether or not it's like monthly or if it's going to be every season, summer, maybe a winter update, and then go from there because it's supposed to be in early access for about a year at this stage. So we'll, I guess, see what their plans are going forward. But it's definitely piqued my interest in for people that like those or interested in those types of games. It's doing some fun little things. So there you go,
Yeah.
PowerWash Simulator.
Mm.
Cool. Anything to
Nice.
add? You gonna jump in? I wouldn't recommend you jump in.
I
It's not a
wouldn't.
game for
No,
you.
I don't think so.
No.
No,
I
probably
played
not.
7 hours. It says here. Jeez.
Nice. Well
Okay.
done.
All right. I didn't write down the timestamp for that one. Take a stab. Go with
Oops.
this. Let's go with Overboard.
Overboard is a new game that came out last week from the team that made 80 Days. Inkle. 80 Days, if you haven't played it, is available on PC and on Android, probably on iOS as well, but I don't fucking have an iOS platform to play it on, so there's a narrative-based game where you try to get around the world in 80 days, and it's very, very cool. It's like genuinely one of my favorite fucking games. Overboard is another narrative-focused game. In this case, it is a murder mystery on a cruise ship going from England to America, and there's a twist because you play the murderer, and so it's sort of the Agatha Christie style Hercule Poirot murder mystery, but you know who done it because you done it the entire time, and so what you have to do is create the circumstances for you to get away with murder, and so it's a pretty good challenge from that perspective because you got to learn everything you can about what's going on this boat, and all the many secrets that people are hiding. The many people on this boat are hiding. There aren't actually that many people on the boat, to be honest. There's like 8, I think. And yeah, you got to find some way to get away with murder. And yeah, it's really good. It's a little bit short, is probably my only real criticism. I found myself, I successfully completed it multiple times inside of it says here 2.1 hours, but I definitely played it for longer than that. Yeah, I'd successfully completed it within that time. That's probably my only real criticism. There are a bunch of other achievements that I could go for if I was interested in chasing them down. But I don't really achievement hunt, so that doesn't really matter to me. So it's sort of the way it works is it sort of starts out every time the game starts with you murdering your husband, and then from there you wake up the next morning to a knock on the door, and you have, I think it's like 9 hours to before the ship will arrive in America. And when the ship arrives in America, that's it. Whatever the situation is, you will reap the whirlwind of it. So if you've created the circumstances for you to be exonerated, then you will get away with it. But there are multiple layers of victory. Like you can get away with it, but it would be better if you pinned it on someone, or you might not get away with it at all, or you can kill everyone on board, or like you can. There's all these layers on how you can do all these things, and there's like multiple speeds at which you can achieve things and stuff like that. And yeah, it's there's a little bit of a Edge of Tomorrow style, Groundhog Day style element to it, because every time you wake up in the morning, it's sort of like you're not consciously aware that you're reliving the same day. Your player character isn't aware that they're playing the same day over and over, but the game recognizes that the player understands that they're doing the same thing over and over, and so it will like seed you different options. There's a trick you can do at one of the cabins. You can get into one of the cabins via a trick, a pretty simple trick, but you wouldn't know about it until you'd learned about it in the game. And I won't spoil what it is, but it's like you can do this first thing in the morning. Like the first thing you do is wake up and go and do this trick, and it will allow you to do it. And it sort of takes that into account, and you can it's actually a pretty useful way to get ahead early in the morning, knowing that you can do this and stuff like that. And so, yeah, the game understands that the player knows a lot more than the player character might, but at the same time, it treats it like any unsuccessful attempt was just a dream, and it will seed like hints at what you might want to do next, like what does the red key mean, or what's one character hiding in their coat pocket, or blah 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 blah, and you can use that to work out what you should do next. And from that perspective, it's really fucking like really well done. And there's a lot of humor in the writing, a lot of fucking gags, a lot of Easter eggs. You'll like the artwork sort of subtly or not so subtly, like just broadly references a lot of different murder mysteries all over the place and stuff like that. So you wind up, it adds the theme. If you're a fan of the murder mystery, and I absolutely am, then yeah, there's a lot to get out of it, and I think it does a good job of it. And I think it really understands the genre, and it's a cool twist on the concept. And yeah, when you get away with it, or just barely fail to get away with it, you like know exactly what you need to do next time, and there's that sense of, oh well, I gotta try again. I don't think it's as good as 80 Days, because 80 Days, I think there was a lot more variance, right? Because 80 Days, you always started in London, but where you went from there was very fucking different. And it's got a lot of 80 Days in it. But it felt like, well, I guess the thing is 80 Days had you trying to reach a certain location within a certain time. Whereas this game has the locations that you're trying to reach being very different. And so the path you would take in 80 Days was very different every time. And you would use the knowledge that you had from previous runs to like inform your next attempt in 80 days, right? But this one, the path is always the correct path is always the same, and you're just trying to find where that path is. Whereas, yeah, any path, almost any path in 80 days could work. You're just trying to find how to get onto the path.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in this one, you are trying to construct the right path. I don't think I'm explaining it very well, but I think it does. Yeah, I think it does a really good job of creating the "you-done-it" murder mystery. But I do not think it's as good as 80 Days. Huh?
Who done it?
You done it.
Who done it?
Stop it. Yeah. So anyway.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely worth checking out.
Mm-hmm. I was going to pick it up. And I mistakenly, it looks like I waited too long because it was on sale. And I thought it was on sale until the end of this week. It ended today. So
got it.
That's right. It's like 15 US. So I'll definitely pick it up. I just got stuck. I was tossing up between PowerWash and Overboard, and I think I saw that you were playing Overboard, so I went with PowerWash.
For the content.
Yeah, so we had more content.
For the podcast. Of course.
Yeah. But I'll definitely check
that's why we're the
Overboard
best.
because it's on my list of things to watch or watch out for. Okay, cool. Let's keep going. Chivalry 2.
Chivalry 2.
Yeah, so that's out. This is out now. We talked about it recently. You had been playing a beta for it.
The open beta. I played the closed alpha, the closed beta, and the open beta.
Yeah. And I think we were joking that the perception of this game would slowly decline the more you played it because it started off very high. And eventually we'll get to a point where you don't like this game. Are we at that point yet?
We are. We absolutely are. I do not like this game. I don't think it's very good. What you haven't played it anywhere near as much as me, right?
So I only got a code. I got a code sent through yesterday or last night, and so I haven't had a ton of time with it. I jumped in and played the tutorial. I think it does a pretty good job at the tutorial of like teaching you the things you need to do. When we're comparing it between Chivalry 2 and what was the other game we've played that's like this? Tell me, what is it? Wardhow. Yeah, I think it does a better job of sort of explaining the mechanics of the game, but it feels not as deep to me. Or there's something. Maybe it's just because I've played Mordhau recently that maybe they just both play exactly the same. I don't know. It just felt like the idea of swinging your weapons just felt a little bit not as complicated. Because in Mordhau, the way I sort of took it was that your mouse was sort of like a wand or your hands, and depending on where you sort of swung your mouse, that is how your sword would sort of behave. Whereas this feels more like you kind of just swing it and then drag, and then that kind of becomes the area that you slice in or you your enemy attacks with. Like it basically tells you straight up like, hey, when you attack, you look to the left, and when you start looking to the left, you're gonna swing your sword quicker, and it allows you to do wider swipes and that sort of stuff. So the actual mechanics feel a little bit different, and I just doesn't seem as deep as Mordhau. I don't know. Am I right with that?
Yeah, I 100% think that is the case. What I think they did is so the reason Mordhau existed, right, is because people got sick of playing fucking Chivalry 1, where people were, what are they calling it, rainbow spinning, ballerina spinning, because the weapon had momentum at all times, And so people would just fucking, I think they even had fucking spin macros where they just fucking whip, and basically anywhere in a 360-degree radius was gonna get it. Was gonna get fucking chopped. And yeah, they fucking so for Chivalry 2, well, the criticism wound up being that Chivalry 1 became too hardcore. It became too like niche, and people bled out on it and stopped wanting to play it. And they didn't want to experience this fucking, oh, well, it's just fucking losers ballerina spinning all over the fucking place, spouting racist bullshit about Opus Dei and, you know, whatever the fuck. Neo-Nazis rainbow spinning all over the fucking place. I don't want to fucking do it anymore. And so Mordhau came out of that, and now I think Chivalry 2 has gone even further. But what it feels like to me is like Dark Souls 1 multiplayer, which was just a spam R1, spam light attack fest, right? And it's not quite to the same extent. There is a little bit more going on in Chivalry 2, but like not most of the time. Like only in duels, only in 1v1 fights is that happening, and you can still, there are still builds that 100% allow you to just fucking repeat the same thing over and over again. And it's because the complexity, the skill ceiling doesn't really get up there. Mordhau, I think, was built on a system of dueling, right? So it was built on a system where the main way you would play it, or not the main way, but the primary way they built the fighting system was 1v1. And for 1v1 combat, Mordhau had a lot of nuance and had a lot of fucking depth, and then it would chuck you in these giant battles where it's none of it fucking mattered, right? But it was still there, and you would have these circumstances, these instances where, like, holy shit, like, that's really cool. I wound up in a 1v1 and we fucking fought it out, and I managed to kill him just before his teammates arrived to fucking do me in. Or just before his teammates arrived and I was, you know, forced back. And that, you know, that's got that fucking Achilles versus Hector shit going on, right? Like that fucking two champions battling type shit feeling to it, where you're like, fuck yes, I'm Achilles. And obviously it's a different fucking time frame altogether. So yeah, blah blah blah. But Mordhau fucking nailed that. That doesn't exist, right? Because there isn't enough stamina damage. On like the class system has created a system where like there isn't enough stamina damage on certain classes, and so it really comes to, like, you can't have a duel, right? You can't have a duel between two different classes because they're inherently mismatched. And the way to get around it is basically just cheesy bullshit.
I found that you can kind of just back off if you find your stamina is getting low, because you can take a couple of hits, and if it's just 1 versus 1, you kind of just back off, and your stamina seems to regenerate pretty quickly.
It comes back way too fucking fast. Exactly. Yeah. And so you wind up in these situations where all anyone's doing is they're just drawing fights out until reinforcements can arrive. And if reinforcements for the other team arrive, then you're like, oh, fucking had to 3v1 me. And if your reinforcements arrive in time, you're like, haha, suck shit, cunt. And like that's all these fucking fights come down to, is like who happens to have more people on deck. And like, I mean, I shared a video on Twitter yesterday, day before, of me like winning a 2v1, and I've seen some videos of, you know, even bigger odds overcome, and I've got one clip of me and Nate were playing, and he was playing as an archer, and he was like, oh shit, I'm on fire, oh shit, they're swinging, and I ran in as like a polearm guy, and I just fucking swung in this wide arc, and I didn't hit anyone, and I got fucking walloped. But I managed to like get my block up, and then I actually like it was basically 6v1, and I managed to kill 2 of them. But also Nate managed to get away, and he shot like 2 of them as well. That was fucking epic. Like it's got these little bits that are epic.
Yeah.
But I feel like you know, like instead of in Mordhau, you're sort of sifting, right? You're panning for gold, right? And in Chivalry 2, I feel like I'm fucking shoulder deep in cow shit, trying to reach around for whatever little fucking nuggets they've got. Gold nuggets, not shit nuggets. Obviously, if I'm shoulder deep in cow shit, I don't need shit nuggets. Like, yeah, it just feels like the capacity for an epic situation isn't necessarily there, and all that you really get is these like chaotic messes. And I think the problem, in my opinion, comes down to map. Well, apart from the basic combat design, they got to fucking wind back on the stamina regen heavily, or like they could have 2 different forms of stamina. Because I think the reason I'm not 100% sure. I think having blocking stamina be different to hitting stamina, I think would be a pretty good option, because it would allow them to have different rates. They don't want you to not be able to fucking hit, basically. Right? They want you to be able to fucking swing a weapon at any time, because I guess that's the fucking core of the game.
Yeah.
And so you'll basically, the rate at which you re-get stamina is way too fast, because it makes it so that even if you are at the fucking end of your tether, you can still fucking wildly flail the weapon. Separate those 2 things out. Have block stamina and attack stamina, and you can have attack stamina come back way too fucking fast, right? I don't like fucking why not? But just have block stamina way fucking slower, so you can actually fucking hit a cunt down and finish him off without him just dancing backwards.
Yeah.
And then fucking waiting it out. Like, it's a huge problem.
Yeah, to me, because I've played the tutorial, I've played a couple of matches in the short amount of time that I've had, and it just kind of feels like maybe they needed to have a couple of more beta weekends, because they had that one like within the last 2 weeks. That just it doesn't seem like that was enough, because I'm noticing that the stamina thing, I noticed immediately, like people were just regaining stamina super quickly, where you would have these 15-20 second sort of fights where you're blocking and countering, and then all of a sudden, like, either someone else would come in, or like they would get their stamina back too quickly, and I'm like, oh, because they've backed off, they've tried to lead the fight, and now it's like 1 versus 3. So I noticed that. The other thing I'm noticing is that the balancing of the objective based modes are a little bit wonky at this stage.
Fucked.
Like, I played one today where it was the other team had to push I don't know what it was, some sort of cart with, I guess it had explosives on it or something like that, right?
Payload.
Right? Yeah, and they basically pushing this thing along. I don't really know how to stop it, because we were standing near it and the thing was still moving. It wasn't really clear to me, because in Overwatch, for example, it's a payload, right? If anybody is near this thing, it stops moving. But in this game, it just kept moving. Like, I wasn't sure if I was going to get run over. It's like a walking checkpoint.
You have to have more people than them on the cart.
That's dumb.
And it has to be. It's not like there's a specific. It has to be to the side of the cart. Yeah. Like, it's not at the front or the back of the cart. There's like a very ill-defined area where you need to be to actually cap the fucking.
That is called snowballing. Like, that is
basically, yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't like that. And that basically came down to every there was like, I don't know, let's say 6 objectives, like checkpoints you had to get to, right? And my team was on the defense, their team was the offense, so they were the one pushing the cart. Say every 2 minutes they would get to a new checkpoint, right? I thought we were getting destroyed at this point, like, because I would basically run in, I'd kill 2 or 3 people, and I'd die, and then I'd swarm back in, I'd kill 2 or 3 people, and then I'd die, and the checkpoint was met. Like, even though I felt like I was doing a good job, every time I looked over, that cart just seemed to still be moving. Eventually, we got to a point where they needed to breach the castle walls. It took them a bit of effort to do that, because no longer did they have to push this cart along. They were now, I think they were bringing explosives to the front gate to try and blow it up, right? And that was slowing them down, because now they were finding resistance there. There was people stopping them. They'd have to pick the thing back up, run over to it. They wasted every time they got to a checkpoint, they would get more time to go to the next thing. So they built up a decent amount of time to get to, because they were just kind of steamrolling through this checkpoint system. And so we got a good couple of minutes knocked off of that initial gate, and then they had to breach the inner courtyard. And then once they got to that courtyard, they then had to get into the main, I don't know what you call it, a castle. And then they had to try and kill I'm assuming it's an NPC, like the king, the jester, whatever he was, the VIP. And
the king. You just call him the king.
The king, right? Is it an NPC or is it a player?
It's a player. It's whoever has the most kills.
Okay, fair enough. And then, so they need to breach this area and try and kill the king. They didn't do it, because at that point, like, we were just smashing them. So I think that there's some balancing going on there that they need to, like, because I thought we were getting steamrolled, and then it turns out we weren't getting steamrolled. The objectives were just weirdly paced. So we did
attackers should basically win every single fucking game, every single objective based, because none of the problem is, right, nobody fucking understands how to play the fucking objective, right?
Sure, yeah.
People get way too distracted having fucking sword fights, when what they should be doing is, like, in the one where you had to blow up the gate, right? You don't have to fucking run the petards all the way up to the fucking door, right? It is a very effective way to do it, but you could also just, like, stand at the back and load a catapult. Load 3 catapults, and it will, like, that fucking objective is over inside of 30 fucking seconds. It is idiotic how fast that objective can be over.
Can the defending team repair the catapults? Because I kept doing that, and I was so confused.
You can repair. I don't know if you can repair there. I don't know if you can repair the enemy.
The catapults looked to be facing the wrong way, and it let me repair them, and I saw other people on our team repairing them, and I didn't know what we were doing.
Your team gets, like, the defenders get catapults as well.
It was on their side of the map.
Right. Yeah. If they're facing the wall or the gate, then something.
Yeah. If you give me the option to repair something, I'm going to repair it.
Right. Well, yeah, you can repair all that kind of shit. Yeah. I didn't realize you could repair the other teams, but I suppose it makes sense that you might be able to. You can, you just use the catapults. You're through that fucking gate in seconds. There's another one where, like, you got to capture gold, right? And people run around chopping at other people. No, you don't do any of that. You walk up, you get the gold, you walk back to the cart, and, like, I have single-handedly done this objective on my own. Like, nobody else has put any fucking gold in. It doesn't fucking matter. And that's fucking cooked. If one player can complete this objective on their own, then it's so heinously attacker lopsided then that it can't be failed, basically. Right? And the next stage after that is collect gold from around the market, where all you have to do is walk up and press E on a gold pile for 5 seconds. So you just do that, and it doesn't matter if you die. There's a better one where you have to burn a barricade. I don't know if you've done this one.
No.
And it's a bunch of, like, sticks on a bridge, and you have to burn the barricade away. Where them killing you after you've thrown your torch is actually doing you a favor, right? Because you grab the torch from your side, run through, sprint past, take a couple of hits, and then just fucking Kobe that shit from as far out as you like, and as long as it lands on the barricade that you're supposed to be burning, mission accomplished. And then they fucking lop your head off, and you spawn back to pick up another fucking fire thing instead of having to run all the way back. It's fucking spectacular, and you can do this like you don't have to walk up and like touch it off like it's the fucking Olympic torch. I'm literally like standing fucking ages away and just fucking hoiking it and getting my head chopped off and then trying again. It doesn't even matter if I miss. That's another fucking objective that I've done on my own with no help from my team because they're all 30, like, what is it, 40 players? So like 19 cunts are taking on 20 idiots who are not paying any attention at all. And I just fucking hoik this shit from fucking wherever. If 3 of us were attempting it, it would take us under a minute. Like any amount of coordination in this shit, and these levels fall over so fucking fast that it's out of control. And so, like, we had one yesterday where I was the king. This is what we were playing while we were waiting for when Baz came in. Me and Dr. E3 Money were playing some Chivalry too. I wound up being the king, and I had to survive as king for like fucking 6 minutes. It was never going to happen, right? Because eventually, what happens is they will just start throwing fucking fire pots. They semi-coordinate, so they've all got fire pots at the same fucking time. And it doesn't require that much. Again, like the rest of the fucking game, if 3 people fucking coordinate, that shit's over in a fucking heartbeat, and you will fucking melt. As the king, you've got like, I think it's triple health, it seems like. Right, so you can survive a lot longer than most people, and you like wallop cunts. You do a lot of damage with your hits, and it's pretty cool. In my opinion, the king should be assigned at random, not to the person with the highest kills. But when I've got the most
I don't
kills,
know.
I'm
Like if
okay
it's
with it.
random, then you get some person who's never played the game before. They don't know what they're doing.
I prefer that to the person who sat on a fucking catapult all game, which isn't what I did. But like you do have games where some dude sits on a fucking catapult or a ballista and just plows cunts from fucking ages away, and then when he becomes the king, he runs off into the front line because he's like, "Oh, why do I have I gotta go find the ballista again," and he runs over into the front line and fucking dies instantly.
Maybe most melee kills.
Yeah, they're gonna work something out. But I'd rather it was just random because otherwise nobody down the bottom of the fucking thing is ever gonna get to be a king, right? How are they ever fucking supposed to have a choice? Huh?
Get good.
Yeah. Look, as someone who's been the king, right? I think I get to fucking decide. Anyway, like we were never going to hold out for that long. Again, 3 people coordinating is enough to fuck that shit up because it's so desperately lopsided. You cannot hold people out forever. It is impossible. We lost with, I think it was 10 seconds left, which made it that much worse. And also we lost because all of my shithole teammates body blocked me from getting behind them. All I needed to do was get behind them, and we could have definitely lasted 10 seconds. I actually could have run into the deserted area where you'll die because that's a 20-second timer.
Right? Yeah.
So I could have just run into there, but I couldn't get fucking through them. That's what I was literally thinking. I was belting into there. But I got body blocked by my dipshit teammates.
Yeah.
Like, the attackers should win every fucking single map. And the only time they ever don't is when there is absolutely no objective play happening. People talk about like good king or shit king, right? Is the Chivalry meme. I don't know if it's from the first one. I don't remember it from the first one, but it's definitely the meme in Chivalry 2. And if the kings did well, then good king. But by default, it's shit king. Everyone always assumes it's shit king. We lost, and I got good king, which I've never seen before. Usually if the king loses, everyone's like, oh yeah, shit king. No, good king. Good king. I was a good king. Damn it. But like, I couldn't, you're destined to lose. I've seen the king win once. And that
My game.
was like, ha, ha.
It's because I was in my game. That's what it was.
That's what it was. How come you weren't the king?
Because I joined halfway through the match.
That's what it is. But it was one where they were basically not playing the objective and barely getting through each objective at the last second every single time, and so they only had the minimum amount of time to get to the king. It still should have been enough, in my opinion. Like when we get to the king phase and I'm on attack, I'd switch to the character that has the fire pots, and I know, I know that this is coming up, so I don't use my you keep your special progress. So on the 4 button, each class has a different 4 option. Pikeman, which I usually use, has a bandage kit that they can throw out and everyone gets healed up. The knight, I think, has the horn, and Vanguard has this oil pot. You just fucking it stays. So you switch classes, and even if you built it up with the bandage kit, it stays built up when you switch to the oil pot. And so I just run in and fucking hoik that at the fucking king, and then I just fucking fight until I've built it up again. And then I hoik it again, and it doesn't you don't even need coordination if you've got one person who makes it their entire fucking goal. But with any coordination at all, it happens so much fucking faster, and there's literally nothing the king can do because they're on fire, and their teammates aren't doing anything about it. It's ludicrous. It does make me wonder though, what I would do to fix it. I never want to talk about a game's problems without wanting to know how it might be better.
Yeah.
And I do think I know how it might be better. And it would be, instead of hyperlinear single lane maps, it would be something like fucking Hell Let Loose or something. It'd be apart from the stamina thing that I pitched before, which I don't like. That's a very preliminary thing, because I still am not 100% certain I have the essence of what's wrong with that stamina system. The stamina is the problem. I just don't know if I 100% have it nailed down. So I can't be sure how I'd fix it. But if you had Hell Let Loose with fucking medieval weapons, I reckon that game would kill. That would be fucking amazing. Even with Chivalry 2's slightly fucking dull melee, spammy melee system, I think that game would be fucking phenomenal, because you'd have smaller groups. First of all, players would know that they were supposed to be Hell Let Loose sets it up pretty quickly that you're supposed to be completing some objectives, right?
Yeah.
That it's an objective-based mode. And with larger maps and with more space and more opportunities for large flanks and stuff like that, you'd be able to set up a lot of different avenues of attack that would provide attackers with different ways to get in there. But it would also lessen the snowball effect that the defenders were coming up against. And if the defenders were able to build some fucking barricades, some robust barricades, and hold the enemy off, I mean, it would go against what Chivalry 2 is trying to do, which is a fucking arcade spammer, right? They're trying to get away. Chivalry 1 was too hardcore. Well, how about this? This is fucking whatever. Nothing fucking matters. Do whatever you want. But yeah, if you went hardcore with it, proper hardcore with it, I think it could be pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. I've noticed that it's very linear in terms of its map design. I kept pressing M to bring up the map, but eventually I was like, I don't really need a map, because I just run straight the entire time, and I can see the objective on my screen. And if I run too far to the left or right, it tells me that I'm being I'm abandoning the battlefield. Occasionally there is even though it is linear, there can be some parts that sort of spread out, but they're not big areas. There might be a bridge with some underpasses, or you're running up to the castle gates, and there's some. They've built a couple of like wooden bridges you can cross, so you can sort of go under them and up and around. Like it's not like it's all just a linear track. It's a you're going from point A to point B to C, and then those areas are quite narrow. There's not really like a lot of you can't flank or anything like that. It's kind of just sticking to the edges or like running at a person, looking for the one that is already in a fight where you can come up and hit someone from behind. And so, yeah, it just feels like there's it just seems like it needs some more balancing to it to sort of tighten up, so that you can have some actual fights. Because the encounters that I've had, it seems like once I've died twice, the team's on to the next objective, and because it's such a snowballing effect, it's kind of hard to like stay put and be able to do anything. There's a couple of objectives I've played where it's like, hey, you've got to rescue prisoners or things like that, and I've seen people just running past me and just going straight for the gate so they can open the gate, and like just like you sort of said, avoiding fights and just going straight to the objective, because if they don't get hit, then they can just tick that off the list and on to the next thing, and then they can go to the whatever they need to do on the objective list next. And so I do think there's some balancing that needs to be done. Hopefully they'll get that done soon, because there is some cool stuff going on there. I think it runs great. It looks pretty cool. When you're lobbing limbs off of people and there's blood spraying everywhere. I was playing one map, and I don't know if this was the actual map or if this is the game, but do bodies stay on the floor?
Until like for a long time. Yeah.
Right.
The team deathmatch ones in particular, I think they just stay.
Yeah, because I was playing the team deathmatch one where it's like you've got a tick rate, I guess, or a certain amount of respawns, and it was what was the map? I don't know what you call it, but it was like a jousting.
The tournament grounds. Yep.
Right, and it had, there were just bodies everywhere by the time that thing finished. I just thought that was really cool. It was like a nice little effect where we've been sort of playing this mode for a while. I didn't really like the map. I thought it was quite boring. It was sort of split up into 3 lanes with a couple of upper, like you'd go inside of a building and you could go up and down, but really it was kind of just 3 lanes on a like jousting arena. So I don't know. It just there's some cool stuff going on there. It's just the combat doesn't feel as deep as Mordhau, and it just needs a little bit more balancing. Like I like that there are no horses in the game. I didn't like horses in Mordhau. I just thought they were ridiculous. Like you'd be running around and some dude would come up on a horse and just decapitate you. And it's like, there's nothing I can do about that. Fair enough. The fact that everything here is just one-on-one fighting, or like everybody's on the ground, I like that. But the games that I've played just feel wildly unbalanced. So I think that's the next step they could sort of focus on. It looks popular. Like I got into games pretty much instantly when I was playing. Servers were full for the most part. A couple of times I saw bots in the game. I can't really tell how good they are or how bad they are. And the other thing I haven't really checked out is like, is there a squad-based system where it puts you into a team? You can see your teammates. Is there anything like that in there?
Yeah, although it's really spotty whether or not it works. Had a lot of trouble getting it to work with Nate. Didn't have any problems getting it to work with Dr. E3 Money, which I just found very weird. On the other hand, if you are playing in a game with people from your Epic Games friends list, you can always see them, but you have to turn off all your other teammate indicators, which
everyone's green.
Isn't that big a problem? Yeah, everyone on your team has a little green dot, and anyone on your friends list has a slightly different shade of green dot, which is fucking idiotic. Like, I don't even. I can't even imagine how Heath would fucking or anyone else is colorblind to fucking go on this shit. But like if you turn off all teammate indicators, it still holds the friends list indicator. So that's how me and Nate were finding each other. But you wind up in these situations where it's too easy to get like disconnected from your teammates anyway. There's like you can sort of coordinate a little bit by saying, oh yeah, we'll go on the left. We'll go for the left, but yeah, it doesn't really hold a lot of water. Like you can say you'll go to the left, or I'm currently on the left, but inevitably you'll wind up. One of you will die, and it will spawn you on the opposite side of the fucking map. And either you got to spend 2.5 minutes running back to them, or maybe not 2.5 minutes, maybe 30 seconds. My Hell Let Loose medieval game would involve 2.5 minutes of running back, but my Hell Let Loose medieval game would have squad spawns. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll probably talk about that more next week when I get some more time with it. I haven't had a huge amount in there, but I'm having fun with it. It's just there's things that I'm like, I would change a bunch of this stuff. So there you go. That's Chivalry 2. It is out now. It's on Epic Game Store if you're on PC. Otherwise, it's on consoles. It's not a full price game either. It's a little bit on the cheaper end. So yeah, check that out if you're interested in those types of games. Okay.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Well, fair enough. But you're salty all the time. So.
I'm a salty dog. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Cool, let's do some news here. We've got a lot of stuff going on, obviously. E3 is kicking off, or
Just
the
about
Summer Games Fest, whatever you want to call it.
The Q3 Games Fest.
Yep, that is it, the official name. First up, Battlefield. The next one has been announced, Battlefield 2042. I'll tell you what's interesting, the name of this. Because there was a lot of speculation, like apparently the name being floated around was Battlefield, right?
Yes.
And I thought that was a fucking terrible name. One, because it's a terrible name, like just calling it Battlefield. We had Battlefield 1 recently. Could you imagine the shitstorm of like retailers trying to figure out fucking what the difference between Battlefield 1 and like, fuck it, we're rebooting it to Battlefield again? I thought that was dumb. But I think the rumor was that it was always gonna be in 2042, right? That's been around for a while, and so I think calling it Battlefield 2042 was a good choice.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I think that to me was the biggest surprise about this announcement going forward. The trailer they showed off was an in-engine trailer. Oh, I'll tell you what, I don't know, man. Like, I am sort of done with these in-engine trailers. It's like they do it every year or every time they release one of these games, and they always look great. They always look fantastic, but at the end of the day, it's not showing me anything that I get excited about, because it's not like when a studio is making a new IP or something that is like a new Batman game or something, where I'm seeing stuff, I'm like, oh, this is cool, there's all this narrative stuff in there. Like, I'm okay with those sort of CG trailers, but a Battlefield game, I sort of know what I'm getting. Like, it's a first-person shooter and that sort of thing. And these in-engine trailers just don't do anything for me, because I want to see the gameplay at the end of the day.
I want to see gameplay,
Right. And the biggest thing about this is that I then spent the next 45 minutes to an hour reading articles and listening to videos and watching videos about people that have been to the event, have seen gameplay from this thing, have done interviews with the developers talking about what the gameplay is in this game, because the trailer didn't show me. And that's I think that's a bad way to reveal these games, especially like the fact that I'm getting relayed information that other people have already seen, and they're going to do a gameplay reveal on the weekend at the it's obviously going to be the Xbox showcase. And so when you show me something and then I need to go out and find other sources to tell me what the game is, and what are all the classes and what are the maps and how does the game work and all this crap, like, I think that's a bad way to sort of show off your game.
On the fucking flippy flop, Luke, that does provide game journos with some sort of fucking job to do, like, I think this one is more a problem with timing, right? I think it's too close to the gameplay reveal for it to
Mhm.
really fucking matter to me. If
That's
it
my
had
issue.
been at the end of May, like it was rumored to have been,
Mm.
or mid-May, like it was at one point, right? If it had been then there would have been like the month. And you'll get to see it for yourself at the Xbox gameplay showcase, the Xbox showcase. There would have been that month of fucking, oh my god, fuck yeah, I'm like getting all I can. But in this case, I'm reading all this shit because I'm obsessed with Battlefield. But at the back of my mind, I'm like, I could probably just fucking wait 3 days
Mm.
and watch it for myself, right? Like there's that element to it where it's like, you probably didn't need to, and yeah, it's annoying from that perspective. If it, yeah, I personally think, like, I agree. I 100% of the time prefer actual gameplay in my fucking video footage as opposed to these heavily constructed, directed in-engine footage videos. They just don't work for me. I'm unbelievably hyped
Mm.
for Battlefield 2042, but I desperately want to see more gameplay. I want to see the gameplay they're going to show at Xbox Showcase before the hype train fucking punches at Chewie and like goes into overdrive. I'm hyped for Battlefield 2042 already because it's a modern-ish shooter. It's Battlefield. It sort of makes me think about, because there was, I don't know if we've got it on the list, but there's that COD Vanguard news, right?
Yeah.
About how they're going to skip E3.
Probably a good reason for that.
I think they should skip
The year?
the year. But like, if anything has made this, I think we've said this for the last fucking 6 years. But if anything has clarified this in my mind, the fucking anticipation I am feeling for Battlefield this year, holy fuck! And instead of getting all hands on, instead of getting the guys who made fucking Spyro to start working as hard as they can on Call of Duty, right? What if they were to just skip a year, lean on Warzone, which they should have done last year, but fucking whatever. Lean on Warzone, and then bring out next year, and absence makes the heart grow fonder. That's what's happened with Battlefield. I'm
Mm.
fucking so much more hyped for Battlefield 2042 because I haven't had a fucking Battlefield fix in fucking ages.
3 years.
Uh, yeah, for fuck's sake, like it's the fucking annual cycle. I don't think it works for COD anymore. They don't have it anymore. They're just doing it and it works because it's all there is. But they're gonna get fucking plotzed by Battlefield because the hype train is happening. People are fucking pumped for this game, and it is doing Call of Duty shit. And Call of Duty's going back to World War II, so it's it's
Yeah.
just it seems like a huge error from Activision. But back to Battlefield. Yeah, if this had been, I mean, if this still had fucking loads, all the Easter eggs and shit, the fucking the plane ejection rocket move is classic. Like, it was basically a
Battlefield moments.
reminder
Yeah.
of all the Battlefield moments. Yeah. And what I found personally interesting is that there weren't Battlefield moments that leaned on the Battlefield moment generators that I talked about in my inflation in the Battlefield moment economy video. That idea that they could make their own epic moments. They didn't really do much of that. That didn't really feature in the videos because that's not the stuff that makes epic moments. Those are pre-built. That's injected currency into the Battlefield moment economy. And yeah, I think it's telling that they didn't really have that shit.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's just fucking all kinds of gags in that video. There's a lot. There's a lot in that video. There's a 4K version up that is very, very worth watching, because you get a lot. There's I saw someone called it out on Twitter. The phone number on the tuk tuk
Yeah, it's all the
is
Battlefield games.
19422341522042, which is hilarious. Like, they're fucking taking the piss out of their own dumb fucking "you can count on us" because they can't count. That's fucking genius. I loved it. Yeah. That, it looks cool. But there's a lot we don't know yet. That said, there is a lot we do know thanks to those articles.
Yeah. And we might go through some of that stuff here.
Yeah.
And then feel free to chime in whenever you got something to say. So we know it's Battlefield 2042, 128 players on PC, PlayStation 5, and the Xbox Series S/X. 64 players on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and they will feature smaller scale maps to fit those less powerful devices. It's going to be a multiplayer only game consisting of 4-player squad. Single player is out, purely just a multiplayer game, which is something that hasn't happened for a very long time. They've got a real-time extreme weather system in there. We saw a bit of it with the tornado. It looks like there's going to be like sandstorms in there as well, sort of how that will affect the game in terms of like Levolution, I think was a name that was being thrown around as well.
But you mentioned Levolution, yes.
Yeah, which is also enhanced terrain deformation. I have to make sure I don't say deformation. So that is in there. They've got other interactive map elements, which include like opening and closing doors, moving cranes, moving like shipping containers, raising and lowering bollards, setting up zip lines. So sort of giving the player ways to maneuver around the environment and create their own like footprint on the map. Which is interesting. It's going to launch with 7 maps for all-out warfare. This is basically... I got a quick list of the maps here, and we saw some of them in the this trailer that they did put up. One of them is Kaleidoscope, that is set in South Korea. That is the cityscape map that we saw. Manifest is in Singapore, which is the shipping lines and shipping containers. We've got Orbital, which is the one with the giant rocket ship that you saw taking off. We've got Discarded, which is in India. That is with a giant shipping ship in the middle of the map. I think that is maybe one of the bigger maps. I could be wrong. There is Renewal, which is in Egypt. That's sort of set up in a split like desert / urban technology environment. And there is Hourglass, which is in Qatar. This is looks like a sandstorm has sort of been through this area. And then I think this is the largest map that they've got in here at the moment. It's called Breakaway, which is in Antarctica. And that is the one where you see at the very start of the trailer of the guys like skydiving off of this cliff and the dude being taken out by a plane, I think it is, and then him wingsuiting away. So there's quite a few maps there. Anything you want to say about the maps that you've seen in this trailer?
They look fucking... Like, first of all, 7 maps is fucking rad. Way more than I expected. I don't know. I don't know why, but I sort of figured there'd be only 4 or 5. 7's awesome. The visual range that these maps are showing is awesome. I could see Kaleidoscope quickly becoming a favorite.
I think it was Jack Frags might have done a comparison that what was it? The one I just said. Can't remember. The biggest map.
Yeah.
was it Hourglass or Antarctica? I thought it was Antarctica map that is
right.
on the same sort of scale as Verdansk from PUBG in terms of size.
Yeah, right. If the Hourglass one, if you can go to the city in the background there, I reckon I'm gonna play a fuck ton of that and Kaleidoscope. I love city fighting in fucking Battlefield games.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's just I don't know that you get these big vibes of different Battlefield areas
Mm-hmm.
from a lot of these fucking map reveals,
Right.
and I'm keen to see
Yeah.
lots
From
more.
what I've read, the maps, because they're so large, will be split up into like sectors, and each sector can have multiple like capture points and objectives to do within them before you actually take over that area. So it seems like they're going to be changing up the way that
Changing Conquest a little. Yeah.
conquest, will work in general, as opposed to you capturing A, B, C, D. It's now going to
Yep.
be multiple objectives in an area to sort of get that thing done.
Yeah.
So that's a cool little system.
I'll be very intrigued to see how that plays out because I don't know. Like I think it sounds rad. But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if one of the Battle Pass announcements is Conquest Classic, and they get a bunch of hype out of people being able to just cap A, B, C, D, and E again. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah.
128 players means they're going to be introducing bots into the game to fill up servers. Not really much more information on that at this stage. In game, there's going to be a new weapon system which enables you to switch out your weapon configuration while moving around. The way I've sort of read it being described is you tap a button, it sort of brings up a UI menu over your weapon, and you can quickly switch between different types of scopes, barrels, ammo, and under barrel attachments on the fly.
Yep.
So that sounds really interesting. You've got what else here? Basically like a hero shooter. They're sort of moving over to that system. Think Overwatch. Yep. Think Rainbow Six Siege, Apex Legends. Traditionally, Battlefield has been a assault, engineer, recon, support, these different class types, whereas the specialists will each have their own unique gadgets and traits, but also sort of be fit into one of those class types as well. So they said the game will be shipping with 10 of them. They've revealed a few at the moment. To give you an idea, we've got Webster McKay, who is in the assault class, has a grappling hook, and their trait is that they're nimble, which allows them to quickly aim down sights from their weapons. There is another specialist here called Maria. She has a pistol which you can fire at your teammates and it heals them. Does that sound familiar at all?
All right,
Maybe?
Doc.
Someone's played too much Rainbow. Her trait is a combat surgeon, allows her to return downed allies to combat with full health when reviving them. So it seems like it's a bit of a medical buff. So she's get slot into the support role. We've got Boris, who has a sentry system. He can deploy that. The sentry engages with other enemies, and his trait is as a sentry operator. Basically allows him to spot enemies.
Bjorn.
Yeah, he allows him to spot enemies when the sentry gun locks onto them. I think he also buffs the turret when he's in when it's in the vicinity of them, from what I recall reading. He gets put into, I think it's the engineer. I'm having trouble finding that, but I'm guessing he's engineer. We've got the last one, which is Casper. He is a recon soldier, gets a drone as his gadget, spots enemies on the map, and can hit them with an EMP blast. His trait is a movement sensor, which alerts the player to approaching enemies. Looks like that's about it for him. I guess we'll have to see a bit more, but To me,
One of the other things is that you're not like locked into weapons
yeah,
based on which operator slash class you pick. They can all of them can equip any uh, primary, secondary, and throwable weapon.
yeah.
So yeah, that's a pretty big deal in
It's
my
just the
opinion.
gadgets and
Because
traits.
yeah, it just means that you pick your gadget, your operator based on which gadget you want to bring with you. And I think that what they'll wind up doing is multiple types of each class. So, Maria has the doc gun, the doc medic gun, but she might be, she might bring them back to full health, while another one might be able to heal everyone around them, but only bring them back to half health with the Surrect pistol type thing.
Mm.
Which I think is an interesting change up, and you'll want to like sort of manage that shit
Right.
uh, based on who's coming with you,
Yeah.
what you bring into the firefight, how long you think you're going to stay up for and stuff. Yeah.
Yep. So that's the specialists that we know. I assume they're going to be showing off more as we get closer and closer to the release of this game. All up, the game will be split into, they're calling them 3 pillars. The first one is All Out Warfare, which we just talked about. That is Conquest, and I don't remember what the other one is called. Do you know?
Breakthrough.
Breakthrough. Yeah, which is the classic like pushing forward, unlocking checkpoints, and then the other team goes back and you keep pushing, push and pull sort of mode.
Is it push and pull, or is it just fucking
go
rush with a different name?
I can't remember. It's one of those modes. We'll see what happens.
All right. It's the game mode I won't play because it's not Conquest. Yeah.
Yeah. The other gameplay pillar is called Hazard Zone, and the third one is a mystery mode which will be revealed at the later in this year. It's being worked on by LA Dice, who have done Battlefield games in the past. One of Joab's favorite Battlefield games, actually. So I'm sure he'll love whatever this mode is.
So this Hazard Zone and this other mode.
Yeah.
What's your take on this? What do you got out of these two?
What I've read from people that have seen this thing, or not seen the mode, but have been to this event and their vibe, is that it could be like a Escape from Tarkov or like the Hunt Showdown sort of scenario, because they've described Hazard Zone as a new squad-based high-stakes mode, and DICE has been adamant to say that it's not Battle Royale. They're not making a Battle Royale for Battlefield 2042. It's not coming.
Yep.
But I mean, how many times have we heard someone say, hey, we got this brand new game mode and we're calling it this thing? Like, you run around and you kill people and you got to move this thing and you've got to be in this spot, and like, but it's not King of the Hill, it's called this thing, and you're like, yeah, but that's King of the Hill. And they're like, no, it's not King of the Hill. It's like, we've made our own game mode. It's not like that.
Yeah. I'm very suspicious of exactly the same fucking
Either
thing.
This is them being like, we're not making a battle royale, we're inventing our own mode, and you get to it and it's like, oh, there's no zone, but there's fucking 600 tornadoes spinning around this thing, and if you go on the tornado, you die, and then the tornadoes keep coming into the circle and you're like, what?
Keep closing in. And
but it's not a circle.
Loot.
It's tornadoes.
It's not. It's a square, actually, and it's shaped in a square. So, it's actually more of a royal battle. So,
it's a hazard zone, because if you go outside the zone, you die. Okay. Anyway, I'm sort of very. I don't know if they're being just like, we don't want to call it a battle royale, or if they're not making a battle royale, they're doing something else. And the first thing that, like, the Battlefield people have said, that influencers and streamers and YouTubers said they're sort of thinking that it could be like an Escape from Tarkov, a Hunt Showdown situation where you are in an area, you're collecting loot and gear, you're completing objectives, and then you need to get the fuck out of there type thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, what is your sort of beat on this?
You basically nailed it. I'm extremely skeptical of the idea. It's, in my opinion, there's three options, right? One, and I doubt it, but they do incursions, which was the Battlefield 1 competitive mode that they trialed pretty heavily, but never really got off the ground. Was supposed to be included with Battlefield 5. They wound up scrapping it. So one, it's incursions, and they make a player the esports thing, esports, I don't know, rackets. Two, it's this hunt showdown, escape from Tarkov. They've got AI in the game, so there's an opportunity there to actually have that sort of combat. Although I still don't know how they solve the same problem that Escape from Tarkov and Hunt both share, which is, why the fuck do you do anything in that mode? Or C3, whatever you want to call it. It's Battle Royale, but it's not being called Battle Royale for whatever reason. Whatever semantic trick they're playing to define it as anything other than...
I mean, the game mode is literally called Hazard Zone. They're going up against the biggest Battle Royale game, which is called Warzone. Right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so yeah, very skeptical. What do you reckon this DICE LA thing is?
Before we jump onto that quickly,
okay,
because while we're on the Battle Royale, if it is not a Battle Royale, they are making a Battle Royale. Someone is making a Battle Royale game, and it'll be a free-to-play game, because if they're not, they're idiots. They're dumb.
They are idiots, yes, 100%.
Because Warzone is the biggest thing out there right now, and it is... It'd be stupid not to make a Battle Royale game.
Exactly.
Anyway, this DICE LA thing, I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't even... can't even speculate on it.
Like, yeah. I there was that rumor, right?
That could be their esports thing. I don't know.
It could be. There was that rumor of that version of Battlefield, the Battlefield mononym that came out ages ago, where you could play any version of any Battlefield game inside of Battlefield or whatever the fuck was going on, and it was incomprehensible. It didn't make any sense, because anyone rolling into like, oh yeah, well, I've got Battlefield 1942 weapons against fucking Battlefield 2142 mech. So I guess I'll just die now. I've got my bolt action fucking M1 Grand or whatever fuck.
You're describing Warzone right
now. But yeah, I just don't see that working. Maybe LA is doing the Battle Royale. Maybe Hazard Zone is not the Battle Royale.
They've said that they're not making a Battle Royale. They said there will be no Battle Royale in Battlefield 2042.
When did they say that? Where did they say that? They said that Hazard Zone is not a Battle Royale.
No, there's interviews out there saying that.
Really?
And they've, during these this briefing that they had, there's not going to be a Battlefield 2042 Battle Royale, and they're not working on one. It's
then I don't know. Then it has to be a fucking semantic trick, or like there has to be some sort of fucking semantic play going on here, where they're like, well, technically, where DICE Stockholm's not working on one because DICE LA is doing it, or technically Hazard Zone isn't a Battle Royale, because we watched some dickwad YouTuber's video on what a game needs to be a Battle Royale, and technically this is just
we don't have
sparkling last man's standing out.
We have tornadoes. It's not us.
They're tornadoes, and they're square-shaped tornadoes, so you can't put that shit on us. Anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess we'll see, but I am intrigued.
I am intrigued. Yes.
Anyway, what else can we talk about here? They have a battle pass system, which will be only cosmetics. They will also have a free battle pass, which will contain gameplay items. They're saying 4 new specialists in year 1. So
Yep.
new characters with abilities and all sorts of fancy tricks that they can do
Mm.
on that battle pass, releasing October 22nd this year for a price of I guess it's 69 USD in America. On consoles and on PC it'll be 59 USD. Full price game. Causing a bit of an upstir, this price point, it being a multiplayer only game, also
Right.
with the battle
Yep.
pass system. Any thoughts on this, especially considering they're going up against games like Call of Duty or Warzone, where like Warzone is free, Apex Legends is free, Apex is obviously EA as well, Fortnite is free. Like, you've got these high caliber multiplayer games that are free to play, and they're charging full price plus a battle pass system as well in the game.
You've got other games like Rainbow Six, right? That charge full price, multiplayer only, have a battle pass, or
I
eventually
mean,
introduce a battle
isn't
pass.
Rainbow free at this stage? You can get into it for free, that like starter kit or whatever it is.
Yeah, I suppose. So maybe there is some method of getting in for free. Maybe Game Pass.
Oh,
Who
what was
knows?
that? What's wrong with your
Uh,
cough?
sorry, I don't know. Weird cough.
It sounded like you said Game Pass.
You what? How? What? Why would you say that? Anyway, yeah, like maybe there's some other way for people to get it free.
Hmm.
I don't know. Or relatively free. I mean, there is EA Play, right? Or EA, whatever the fuck
Yeah.
their subscription is. Um, there's that that you could pay for as opposed to paying full price. And if you don't want to pay whatever the $100 for it in Australia, you can pay 1 month of EA and EA play it when it's the fucking new hotness, and people who want to continue playing it for the rest of eternity can buy it, I guess. Or maybe there's some way to get it some other way.
Yeah. We've been
Dot
saying
dot dot.
this for a couple of weeks now, right? If this thing is on Game Pass, that's huge.
Yeah.
I think it will be,
Mm.
because I mean, like, the other EA games have been, right? At this stage, they've been pumping them out.
Yeah.
And so, if they really want to go up against the Call of Duties, who make a stupid amount of money every year, and really, like, Call of Duty is nowhere near as big. Sorry, Battlefield is nowhere near as big as Call of Duty. And so, if they can get in there on that Game Pass thing, then that is massive for them. But also, I guess we gotta wait and see, right?
There's just so much we don't yet know, and
Yeah.
we got to wait to find out more.
we
I
can.
guess we're gonna have to wait that long. Yeah.
Yep.
But I'm excited all the same.
Yeah. The stuff that I have read, I'm annoyed that I had to read all this crap, and even if they showed me fucking 30 seconds or a minute of gameplay at the end of that thing so I could see what it looks like, I mean, like, yeah, that's cool. Like, I don't know, man. It just feels so old school to me. We're seeing all these these companies go ahead now and do long form sort of sit down, let's break apart all these systems. Sort of like we're getting away from these made up trailers that don't really have anything to do with the game. And then on the other side, we got companies that are still like, hey, look at our in-game engine thing, and doesn't it look sick? And you're like, yeah, but like, what is the game? You're not like, anyway, I was just super disappointed, because I thought they would, because Battlefield does it every fucking time they release a game, and I thought surely they just get away from that thing.
At least I didn't have to fly anywhere to see
that, which they've done in the past.
They have, and you didn't get anything else. So at least there's all this extra information, right? Years ago, they basically showed what they just showed then, with no accompanying interview. It went and streamed out live, so we couldn't even report it at the time. And that happened at GDC, which would have been what, May, right?
Yeah.
This is their timing schedule. This is how they do it, right? They would have shown this thing at GDC, misplaced as it always has been, and then at somewhere closer to E3, they would have shown the gameplay thing. But for whatever reason, they didn't show it back then, and they have shown it now. 3 days before they're going to show the real meat. This is
that people have already seen. Just it's just, to me, it's just strange.
It's odd.
Yeah. All right, let's keep moving on here. Obviously, we'll talk about more Battlefield next week once we get some more, once we see this thing in action. So, Rainbow Six Quarantine has been renamed to Extraction. We knew that this was coming. They talked about it in the past. Obviously, Quarantine has become a bad name for that game to use in the last 2 years. It was Parasite as well at one stage, or was that the code name?
I think that was the code name. Yeah.
Right.
I don't think it was ever officially Parasite.
Yeah. So this is basically the Left 4 Dead-esque game that they're putting out set in the Rainbow Six Siege, maybe universe? I don't know. Rainbow Six Siege had a Left 4 Dead style game. It was like a Halloween event one year. It was really good and fun. And it lasted like 4 weeks. And we were like, why is this not in the game all the time? That was so cool. And so they went and turned it into a proper game. So I'm excited for this. We'll get to look at it more at the Ubisoft Forward coming up very soon.
Very soon, yeah. The full reveal. I'm excited. Yeah, I want to play it more. I'm still disappointed that it's a 3v3 affair, but whatever. It is what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, can't wait to see more.
Okay, next up we've got some 2K news. Looks like a bunch of their stuff is leaked out. We've got a Borderlands spin-off called Wonderlands, which is set to be revealed tomorrow morning. So probably by the time most people hear this.
Yeah.
This is apparently a spin-off with Tiny Tina. Don't know if it's going to be a first-person shooter or something weird and wacky. But anyway, it's I'm keen to see what they've got cooking on with her, because I think that her DLC was one of the best in the series. The you know, the D&D session. So I don't know whether it's just going to be like another Borderlands game, or if it's something completely different, like a different genre type thing. So wait and see. The next one is a new Firaxis game, who are the creators of a XCOM series.
Sorry to interrupt, but Tiny Tina, the Dungeons and Dragons thing was like written by Ashley Birch, right?
Was it?
I think so. Well, I mean, she plays Tiny Tina, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
if it was written by.
I don't know. But I was just gonna say, when we're caught up on Mythic Quest, I don't know, she's credited as the writer on a bunch of episodes for that.
Yeah, I think that's just in TV, they just rotate writers most of the time. Like, they're all writing it.
Oh, 100%. But you know, the credited writer. Like, I think she's been doing a really good job. She's written some of the more interesting. She didn't write the last episode. I don't know if you're caught up on Mythic Quest, but
did.
the latest episode was fucking awesome. That show's good. That show is good. Although they pursue making a battle royale in that.
Yeah.
And they name dropped the most popular battle royales.
For Honor.
No, it was
Hyperscape. That's right. Yeah.
Oh my God.
They say like Fortnite or something, and like Call of Duty Warzone, Apex, and they're like Hyperscape. You're like, what?
Hyperscape. Get the fuck out of here.
They wouldn't have known. Yeah.
Well, it's a Ubisoft co-pro, so they had to, you know, get an Ubisoft game in there. But Jesus Christ. Yeah, that one that made me laugh in ways that it shouldn't have. Anyway,
it wasn't a joke. That's
yeah.
Or maybe it was. They put it in there intentionally.
Very sly. Very sly.
All right, so yeah, Firaxis, new Firaxis game, creators of XCOM. Civilization series, are working on a new turn-based action game using the Marvel license. Yes, I am in. You've got me.
That's all you had to say for Luke to get on board. I'm probably not gonna get on board. I don't know. I'm old enough to accept that I burn out too quickly on XCOM games. I lose and I get annoyed at the dice rolls, and I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm out of here.
Maybe they'll change it.
Maybe.
We'll see. Okay, next up we've got Warner Brothers. They're doing a stream. It's not going to have Gotham Knights. There's no Suicide Squad. There's no Hogwarts Legacy. They're showing Back for Blood.
It's going to be on this stream.
It's just Back for Blood.
Just Back for Blood. That is fucking phenomenal.
Like, yes, I will watch that. But where are their other games? What happened? Hogwarts was supposed to be shown ages ago, like last year, E3.
When does Battlefield 2042 come out?
October 22nd.
October 22nd. And when does Back for Blood come out? Didn't they say there was a pre-order open beta a couple of weeks beforehand?
12th.
The 12th.
Yeah.
4 days. Back for Blood. Back for 4 days. Before it's dead to me.
Yeah, because there's going to be an early access for Battlefield. Yeah, of course.
So yeah, I will play Back for Blood for 4 entire days, and then it doesn't exist anymore. It had a good run. See you later. Yeah. I can't, like, there are 2 games that I think can distract me, that can hold my attention outside of Battlefield, and they are Deathloop and Dying Light 2. That is it. Those are the games
that you know
of. That I know of. Yeah, maybe something. Maybe
Horizon. Maybe they'll be like Horizon Zero Dawn. We're coming out the 21st of October, and you're like, oh, okay.
That's rough. Not a fan of that. Maybe you could try again on that one.
Forbidden West. I said Zero Dawn, didn't I?
You did, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Horizon. Fuck. That would be. I'd basically just take.
What if they sandwich it? They change the God of War release date to the 20th or the 21st, and then the 23rd is Horizon. They're just like, fuck you.
Fuck you, Battlefield.
It's a PlayStation sandwich. Yep.
You're gonna be free on Game Pass? Well, how about this, motherfuckers? Yeah. No, yeah, Deathloop, Dying Light 2, those are the games. I can't even think of what might be announced.
Halo, Elden Ring. No?
Elden Ring, maybe, but that's not coming out this year. That's coming out in 2031. That's coming out in 2042, when George R.R. Martin finishes The Winds of Winter. Yeah.
Okay, next up we got Ubisoft's Tom Clancy games are going to be given a mashup in a new free-to-play shooter, codenamed Project Battlecat, which puts the Division's factions versus Breakpoint's Wolves versus Splinter Cell's Echelon. What is going on here? What is happening?
Hang on, say all of that again. What the fuck are you talking about?
Project Battlecat, which is a fantastic name. They should just leave it as that.
I love it. Do not change it from Project Battlecat.
It puts a bunch of these Tom Clancy game factions together. So we get the Division factions versus Breakpoint's Wolves versus Splinter Cell's Echelon team. And then they shoot each other in a free-to-play game.
Sure. Well, okay. If you reckon. What the fuck? Where are you getting this from? Is this another leak?
Yeah.
That's fucking phenomenal.
A bunch of images leaked from it.
That is incomprehensible.
The thing that upset most people is that there's no Splinter Cell game, and they're putting this Splinter Cell crap in a free-to-play game.
Poor Sam.
Yeah,
Poor
like
Sam Fisher.
if anything is going to get me super excited, it'd be a new Splinter Cell game from Ubisoft. Like,
Oh,
absolutely.
hell yeah.
It just seems like they're not
Oh,
interested in
all
that
the
sort of
images have
stuff
been
anymore.
taken down.
Yeah, oh, yeah. They got
DMCA'd. By
DMCA.
G'day. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
All right. So I guess we'll find out exactly what that is on the weekend. Um. That's pretty much it for any E3-ish sort of leaks. Anything else you can think of that you want to mention at all?
Nope. I
No.
don't think so.
Okay,
No.
the last piece of news item we've got here is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is getting a 60 FPS ray tracing mode at launch. This was slipped into the game during the review period, which is interesting. I think that thing come in hot, but that
Yeah.
sounds pretty impressive. I guess Insomniac has learned a lot from working on Spider-Man and getting that 60 FPS mode up and running with ray tracing. And bringing this across seems really interesting. I saw some initial thoughts from like Digital Foundry, did some tests on it, and that stuff looks fantastic. I'm really excited for this game. Obviously, the reviews have come out at this stage. It's like an 89, I think, on Metacritic. The last time I checked, it's getting a lot of love. You excited to check this out?
Yeah, fuck yeah. I'm very excited. Like I devoured the reviews. People are talking up. They saying stuff that
Like
has
gameplay
meaning
wise.
as well. Like gameplay wise,
Yeah.
it actually sounds great, not just good looking. I'm very amped to play it. It sounds like a proper next gen experience, which is cool. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, that's cool. So I guess we'll talk about that more obviously next week. I thought I'd just drop it in here because why not? And that's the news. Any questions we got going on for this week?
We do have a question. I did see a question, I think. Questions. Snoop Dougie Doug writes, question for the show. He wrote for FORE for some reason. Who would win a fight between a badger and a baboon?
Oh,
Or baboon, I don't know.
baboon.
This is actually pretty tough, right? Because my gut says
I go straight to Far Cry on this one.
Oh yeah? The honey badger though. Is it a honey badger or is it just a regular badger? I'm not familiar with the regular badger all that much.
I think they're still aggressive, right?
If I think about badgers and baboons or baboons, how the fuck I can't say anything without second guessing how I talk today. My guess is baboon.
Yeah.
I think baboons are terrifying.
They rip its legs off, right?
Badger. Yeah, but badgers, if it's a honey badger, no question, honey badger wins, right? Right?
I don't know.
But if it's a regular badger, I don't know, man. I don't know. This is a good question.
But also, if you refer to Far Cry, right? I don't think Far Cry ever had a baboon. So, does the baboon exist? If we're talking about like video game competition,
does the baboon even exist?
Yeah, and so maybe the badger just wins by default.
I don't think, but we haven't seen a badger in Far Cry. This is what I'm saying.
Wasn't it?
We can't go.
But if it was, honey badger, let's pretend it's a honey badger.
Well, if it's a honey badger, I think the honey badger wins, even if we don't take Far Cry into account, because the honey badger, like, just fights so far above its weight class that it just can't be defeated. But if it's a regular badger,
there's a regular badger in Far Cry. I'm looking now. It's in Far Cry Primal.
Fuck Far Cry Primal. How is there like? Isn't Far Cry Primal a fucking dinosaur game?
Yeah.
So how the fuck does that count?
It says here they are the equivalent to Far Cry 4's honey badgers.
Really? All right.
So we've got that. I don't think there was a baboon in
according to this, there were baboons in Far Cry 1.
Really?
The first one, back when it was still like a Crytek game. So, so there we go. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm puzzled. Okay, forget Far Cry. Eliminate Far Cry.
Yep.
Gut feel, Luke. Who wins, Baboon
the
or
baboon,
Badger?
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Team Badger then, just to be contrarian. I think the Badger could take on the Baboon.
How big is this baboon?
I don't know. Baboon sized? How big are baboons? I've never
looking.
seen one in real life. I haven't seen a badger in real life. I've got no. My idea of both the badger
pounds.
and the baboon comes from The Simpsons.
That's not very big.
Right?
30 kilos.
How big's a badger then? Baboons to the left of me. Baboons. Huh?
About half
the weight. Oh, Jesus. That's not looking good for the old badger. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going
baboon.
I'm sticking to badger. Yeah. But yeah, I only have a reference for either of these animals from The Simpsons, so I can't be trusted. I can't be relied upon for this. Anyway, good question, Snoop Doggy Doug. You've stumped us. We're split. I would love to hear what other people think on this topic. Do not base it on Far Cry. Do not base it on Far Cry. Don't do it.
What if it's in Far Cry 6 baboons and badgers, and then you could test it out by getting them to fight each other?
That would be fantastic. That's the only possible solution for this. Far Cry 6 actually is another game that I'm excited for. When I say Dying Light 2 or Deathloop could distract me from Battlefield, it's such a tenuous concept.
Yeah.
They'll distract me momentarily. Far Cry 6 too. None of these things are going to hold my attention for long enough to draw me away properly from Battlefield 2042. I'm fucking amped.
I mean, October is looking pretty hectic with Battlefield, Far Cry, Back 4 Blood. What else is there? Ghostwire Tokyo apparently as well. I don't know.
Really? Fucking hell.
People got to be moving, right? At some stage. There is only so many days, only 4 release dates you can really put in there. Looks like you're getting snapped up, so we'll see. Dying Light is December, so that one's solidified itself so far.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, that is the questions, or is there any more?
That's the questions.
Cool.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. All right. If you want, you can find us on The Gap, on iTunes, Android, Windows Store, Spotify, YouTube, all places you get podcasts from, or the GA podcast. We might be under that as well. Please rate and review the show. Helps other people find us. You can also go to our YouTube page, thegapodcast.com/YouTube. Watch the podcast in video form if you want. Or you can go to our Discord page, thegapodcast.com/Discord. You can jump in there, talk about all sorts of things related to video games, TVs, movies, whatever you want. Jump into the voice channels, people playing games, doing all sorts of things. It's a good time happening in there. You can find us on social media, facebook.com/GAPodcast, twitter.com/GAPodcast, or you can go to our website, thegapodcast.com, where you can find all sorts of things on there. All the links we just talked about, past episodes, featured content, it's all going on. That is all thanks to our Patreon members. If you want to help support this show, you can go to patreon.com/thegapodcast, become a recurring member every month, get the podcast a little bit early, and help us pay the bills. So thank you, everyone does it every month. We greatly appreciate your support.
We do.
And
you're the best.
Anything you want to spruik out for this week you've been working on?
No, because I still don't know when it's coming out. But I don't know. Stay tuned to the Gap for all the E3 news. It's going to be good. And Twitter at JoeyJojo. Yeah.
All right. You can find me twitter.com/Luke Lawrie, Lawrie. And that is it for this week. As you said, next week's going to be massive. We've got E3. It's going to be stupid. So many things going on. We've got Ratchet Clank, which we'll be playing through, and a bunch of other things. So, sounds like a good show. One of the biggest of the year. Get excited.
Yep.
Get hyped.
That's it.
We will see you then. Thanks for listening.